Welcome to Sunday Night with Old Time Radio. I hope you'll excuse my rough voice this evening. I seem to have gotten a cold. But on with the show. We have 3 new programs following Tarzan. Tarzan opens our broadcast, but then we follow with, as I say, 3 new broadcasts. This is your FBI, Jeff Regan, and Frank Merriwell. Frank Merriwell is one of our favorites here. Then we have comedy with The Life of Riley. Followed finally, and to close the program for this evening, we have Suspense.
From the heart of the jungle comes a savage cry of victory. This is Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle. From the black core of dark Africa, land of enchantment, mystery, and violence, comes one of the most colorful figures of all time. Transcribed from the immortal pen of Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan, the bronzed white son of the jungle. And now, in the very words of Mr. Burroughs, the story of Tarzan and Black Ivory.
Stories about the Marwa tribe had drawn Tarzan to the far mountain country, where, according to the legend of the lowland, there lived a super race. The people had been described as 7 feet in height, and it was said that they could wrestle with Sheeta, the panther, outrun Bara, the deer, and bend a young tree for a bow. The legend proved an exaggeration, but Tarzan did find the Marwa people exceedingly tall and handsome and strong. None possessed more of these jungle attributes than Velda, the dusky, dark-eyed daughter of the chief.
Tarzan, not catch Velda.
I'll catch you, all right. Watch out. Here I come. So I couldn't catch you, eh?
Tarzan. Tarzan, help Velda onto a rock.
All right. There you are. Oh. Well, then, do you admit that I can swim faster than you?
Tarzan swim faster and run better than any Marwa. And that is why my father, the chief, make Tarzan son of tribe.
I'm happy about that, Velda. For I've never known any tribe as brave as yours. As ours.
Never before have Marwa take stranger as son. And this only because Tarzan is mighty hunter and fisher.
Well, if I'm a good fisherman, I better take these fish I speared back to the camp and clean them.
Oh, no, Tarzan must not.
What?
Oh, that is job for Tarzan's woman.
Tarzan's woman? Oh, now, wait a minute, Velda.
Oh, does not Tarzan like Velda?
Of course I like you.
And is not Velda beautiful in Tarzan's eyes?
I think you're as lovely as the blossoms of the jungle acacia. But you are the promised one of Kalo.
Oh, no more. Not since night Tarzan bested Kalo in wrestling contest. Now, only Tarzan can marry daughter of chief of great Marwa tribe. When Goro the moon comes to fullness again, Velda will become Tarzan's slave forever.
I don't like that word slave, Velda.
Huh?
You'll never be any man's slave, not mine nor anyone else's, so long as I have strength with which to fight.
The reputation of the great Marwa tribe had spread even so far as Port Said on the edge of the distant Mediterranean. There, in a ramshackle building on a narrow side street, a man in the flowing robes of the Bedouin thought about these great, strong people as he waited for a caller.
Enter.
I can hardly see. That you, Egypt?
It is indeed, Captain Marco. Ajib Ben Zaman bids you enter. And close the door.
Okay.
Come near to me, mighty captain of the sea.
You're going to hold that mighty captain of the sea business and tell me what all this mystery's about.
I know of no mystery, my worthy captain.
Not much you don't. Sending one of those Hawkeye messengers to my ship and making me meet you here in this part of town? What do you want?
Your tongue is sharp, friend, for one whose ship cannot find cargo among the reputable merchants of Port Said.
All right, so you found out I'm broke. So what?
Ajib Ben Zaman wishes but to improve the fortunes of his friend. I know of rich cargo for your ship to carry to distant ports.
The kind of cargo you ship is too risky.
But this time it is neither the seed of the poppy nor the guns our government has elected to term contraband.
What then?
This time you shall carry black ivory.
Black ivory?
To translate the jargon of a crass world, slaves.
Slaves? In this day and age?
There are still many markets, including countries which claim to be opposed to all forms of slavery.
Well, maybe so. But I'm not getting into a racket like that.
I think you are, Captain Marco. There is much Ajib Ben Zaman could arrange to have the port authorities learn about some of your past cargoes.
Well...
You will profit handsomely. My emissaries tell me of a Marwa tribe whose people are tall and handsome and strong. They will bring many pieces of gold.
Suppose I agree. How do you know I'll still be in port when you bring them back?
Because I'm taking you with me, Captain Marco. My men wait outside this hall now. One will carry a message back to your ship. A message wherein you command your crew to await your return when your business in the jungle is completed.
How do you know I won't spoil your game?
I have planned long for this. I have come many days' journey for this meeting in Port Said. Anyone who attempts to spoil my game will die. I care not if the infidel is a man of the sea or a creature of the jungle.
We will return to Tarzan in just a moment. The mournful whistle of the Cape to Cairo Railroad engine sounded in the night. And aboard the train traveling from Port Said to Fashoda in the Sudan country were Captain Marco, Ajib Ben Zaman, and the cunning sheik's two fierce Bedouin followers, Kadur Ben Hussein and Bader Ben Jafar, who sat in a corner saying nothing, but their hands remained on their cuzes, and their narrow eyes seldom left their sheik and the infidel dog sea captain.
Why do they keep sitting there staring at me?
Perhaps they doubt your full enthusiasm for our plan.
Maybe they're right. 4 men going into the jungle to try to capture a whole tribe of huge savages.
When we leave the train at Fashoda, we will be met by my men. More than a double score of cunning shiftas skilled in the art of taking slaves.
I see.
They will have with them camels and fleet Arabian horses, the tools of their trade, and the wherewithal for a comfortable menzil.
Menzil?
Encampment.
Oh.
Forgive me for forgetting that you are a cultured foreigner who knows not the crude language of Mohammed.
Yeah. Well, so these shifter guys catch the blacks. What then?
We return all the way to Port Said by caravan and load them directly into your ship.
And no one stops us or asks questions, huh?
No one questions the content of a closed packing case unless there are sounds of protest from within.
Yeah, that's just the point. You think those blacks aren't going to scream murder?
For those that babble, there is always the heated iron that removes the tongue almost painlessly.
The weeks passed, but the moon had not yet come to its fullness, and Tarzan wrestled with the problem of breaking off with Velda without causing her hurt, were making angry his brothers of the Marwa tribe. Already one of them, Kalo, to whom Velda had been promised, looked upon Tarzan with unfriendly eyes. This day, Tarzan walked from the camp deep into the jungle. Following him at a little distance came Velda, and following her stealthily came Kalo.
I heard someone. Who follows me?
It is but your promised one, Velda.
You should not follow me, Velda. Especially not when I walk into the jungle.
Why does Tarzan wander away from the Marwa camp?
I am not used to being with people all the time, Velda. Perhaps I shall never learn.
When the moon comes full and we are married, then Tarzan be real son to my father. And then perhaps it will be easier in the mind.
I'm afraid not. Velda, how can I tell you? What words are there to explain that I can't marry you?
Tarzan would shame Velda before the tribe. He has claimed her in ceremonial wrestling match. And now...
Hush. Shh. I hear someone. Though the wind is against us, I sense the coming of enemies.
I care not for enemies. If Tarzan will not have Velda, then she...
Be still, woman. Who comes?
I come.
Kalo.
What do you want, Kalo? Why do you follow me?
Tarzan take Kalo's woman, and against law of tribe, he steal into woods with her before nuptial feast.
I did not steal into the woods with her. I came for a walk. She followed to talk to me.
Kalo see Velda cry. Surely Tarzan bring dishonor to tribe. Marwa make mistake when he take Tarzan as son. Tarzan not true Marwa.
I am sorry, Kalo.
But Kalo change mistake of tribe. Cleanse name of Marwa tribe with Tarzan's blood.
Oh, no, Kalo, no!
Kalo's knife flashed high over his head and came down with terrific speed. But the sinewy hand of Tarzan caught Kalo's wrist, and the knife dropped to the ground. A moment later, Tarzan's knife clattered to the ground as he fell with Kalo on top of it. The men rolled over and over, locked in savage struggle. Velda turned her back and ran right into the path of another spectator, Bolgani, the gorilla. Picking her up in his gargantuan arms, he hugged her to his hairy bosom and fled through the forest with her, as Tarzan and Kalo continued to struggle.
Wait! That's Velda!
Velda in trouble.
Help! Bolgani taken me away!
Come, Tarzan.
We're coming, Velda!
Behind those rocks. Kalo, see them.
No knife and no bow.
Could not shoot anyway. Hurt Velda.
Bolgani's putting her down. It's getting ready for us. Now!
Help him, Kalo! Help him!
No, Kalo, take Velda back to village. Run!
No! Kalo, help!
No, Kalo. If Bolgani kill us both, what will happen to Velda? Take her! Run!
Come, Velda!
No, we cannot leave him. I won't.
What Tarzan say is true. I must take you and run. I carry you.
No, don't make me leave him. Don't leave Tarzan. Bolgani will kill him.
Now Velda and Kalo were forgotten as the two animals of the jungle, man and gorilla, fought for their lives. The gorilla's huge claws ripped into Tarzan's flesh. The leaves and the dirt were red with blood. Now Bolgani grasped Tarzan about the middle and began to squeeze with the enormous strength of his tremendous arms. Tarzan's breath left his body, and his mind began to cloud. And then suddenly Tarzan's powerful hands found the gorilla's bull-like neck. They closed around the huge throat, and they squeezed tighter and tighter. Tighter. And at last, Bolgani's arms relaxed. The hideous jungle creature fell to the ground. Tarzan stumbled a few steps, And then he fell at the base of a great tree, exhausted. Only then did an interested group of spectators emerge from behind the large rocks and walk to the scene of the savage battle.
The savage is unconscious.
Dad, did you ever see a fight like that, Bedouin?
No, Captain Marco. Never before have these eyes seen such a struggle.
The gorilla dead?
He has gone to his maker. Men, tie up the savage.
Tie him up. Can't you see that he's white under that bronze? We're not hunting for white men.
What we do with an Nazrani is to be decided by Sheikh Ajib Ben Zaman. He has a great reputation for wisdom and for his own particular brand of mercy.
We'll continue with our story after this message.
So you are Ben Zaman.
My subjects call me by that name, but I find your form of address and your manner exceedingly impertinent for a prisoner.
When I regained consciousness, I told your men I'd come willingly. But your subjects insisted on prodding me and keeping me tied up. Tarzan is not used to such treatment.
Tarzan? You are the famous Tarzan?
Some call me Lord of the Jungle.
Cador, why have you taken this man prisoner? Untie him at once.
I told him he was making a mistake.
You are wise, Captain Marco. Here, I'll cut the bonds myself.
Thank you, Ben Zaman. I was told you were a wise man and you live up to your reputation.
I apologize for what has transpired. You are my guest. Ibn, bring coffee and viands. Pray be seated, Tarzan. Captain Marco. Cador.
I shall sit with you, but I eat not the food of the Muslims. You will excuse me?
Can't say I blame you, son. Coffee, they call it. Full of cloves and cinnamon. And so sweet it makes you sick. And the food, like some dive in Damascus.
I forgive your crude remarks, Captain Marco, and I excuse you from sitting with us.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Good luck to you, Tarzan.
Thank you, Captain Marco.
I cannot apologize enough for the indignities you suffered at the hands of my men, Tarzan. Perhaps you will permit me to repay you by offering you the hospitality of my humble menzil.
I am very tired. I will accept your kind offer.
Hayat! Show Tarzan to obey it, containing a soft mat on which to sleep, and see that he has every comfort. May Allah grant you sweet dreams, Tarzan.
You are most kind. I shall see you when the sun is in the heaven.
I hesitate to question you, my sheik, but your actions furrow my brow with questions.
Fool! Have you never before heard of Tarzan?
No.
Many times in the past has he thwarted the plans of slave raiders.
And yet you treat him like a friend. We had him tied, helpless, and you...
Had we plunged a cuirass into him while he was bound, every native and every beast in the jungle would have united against us.
Yes?
But instead we shall treat him as a dear friend. We shall persuade him to remain for a few days. By tomorrow night, any doubts he may have had about us will have vanished. We shall be filled with sorrow when he is discovered dead the next morning.
But you said...
We shall find Captain Marco, the Nazrani, guilty of the murder, and we shall shoot him for his foul deed. That way we can cause no enmity, and with Tarzan out of the way, our hunt for black ivory will be simple.
But won't we need Marco?
When we return to Port Said, we shall commandeer his ship. In that way, we need not pay the dear captain his share of the loot. Who comes?
It is Cador, my sheik. I bring a native who tried to steal by the sentries.
Oh, he looks like a healthy young buck.
Very strong and healthy, Buana. Only me not steal past centuries. Me come to see great sheik need work.
A native looking for work?
Me outlaw from tribe. Much strong. Do work good.
Well, there is much work to be done about the Menzies, and the shifters have little heart for it. What can you do?
Care for camels and horses. Hunt game. Cook for sheik.
All right. You can sleep with the animals, and we'll pay you what you're worth.
Me thank Bwana.
What name do you call yourself?
Name is Kalo.
Who steals into my tent while I sleep?
Hush, Tarzan. It is Kalo.
Kalo. How did you get here? Did they capture you?
No, Kalo come to free Tarzan. But you are not bound. We sneak from camp now.
Not yet. Do you know what these men are, Kalo?
Kalo knows. The sign's plain.
They fooled me for a little while. But when they thought I'd fallen asleep, I slipped out. I found a wagon full of wrist locks and leg irons. We can't leave until we've forced them to quit the jungle. But we'll need help.
Kalo have plan. Get help with jungle drum. Send message to all of Marwa tribe when camp sleeps.
What suppose they find you here?
Arabs know Kalo here. Work for Arab as hunter and cook. Part of plan. In morning, Tarzan must pretend he not know Kalo. Leave now.
Just a minute. Why did you come to save me, Kalo?
Sorry for fight. Kalo did wrong. Tarzan brave Marwa.
That night, Kalo's drum sounded in the jungle, and from far off came the answer. The mighty Marwa tribe would send their fiercest Waziri to fight the slave raiders, and they would follow the plan told them by the drums. The next day, the plan was whispered to Tarzan, and by the time the Arabs had gathered for their evening meal that night, the jungle that skirted the Menzies was alive with native warriors. They awaited the signal from the peaceful-looking bed of the sheik.
Bring us our evening meal. Pray be seated, Tarzan. Captain Marco, Kedor, Eben, the rest of you. My nose is assailed with a delicious odor.
Kalo the Black has provided us with a rare treat. He has hunted in the woods all day and has returned to cook the fruits of the hunt.
Approach with the repast, Kalo.
Kalo, bring food. Meat much heavy.
The entire animal turned on a spit. You are a rare jewel, Kalo.
Meat is wapi, the antelope. Taste fine, only too much for few men. And Kalo have more meat to bring in. Call rest of men.
That is a noble thought, Kalo. But all are present save for the sentries.
Kalo in woods all day. No enemies near camp.
He tells the truth. Our men comb the forest. No natives.
If Gomangani were near, Tarzan would have caught the scent.
Well, all right. Let the others come in. They've been restless, and a good meal may help. Summon them, Kedor. Now then, the food.
Looks like good seafaring grub for a change.
One must admit the jungle furnishes fine food for those who know how to capture it, Tarzan.
The jungle holds no mysteries for those who are part of it. But for those who would destroy it, there is much danger.
A month I've waited for a decent meal.
Here are the others. Enter, men. Partake plentifully of the meat. Kalo, more food.
Kalo, bring. Here is fine roast animals.
With an aroma like rich perfume.
This is something like eating.
This meat Captain Marco asked for.
Huh?
This horta, the boar.
A boar?
The greatest of insults. Bringing the flesh of a swine to the table of an Arab. And you ordered it, Captain Marco.
I swear I...
Taunting us about our coffee and our food, and then this insult. No man can insult the faith of Ajib Ben Zaman.
Look, I never...
You sneaking infidel dog!
You can't slap me, you rat!
Ajib was reaching for his gun.
And as the Arab sheik fell, pandemonium broke loose. Kedor dropped. Marco fell with accuser in his heart. And as the confusion mounted, a horde of fierce Waziri flooded into the tent, wielding wicked knives left and right. And Kalo and Tarzan led the battle until no Arab remained in the menzil of Ajib Ben Zaman.
The full moon has come, people of Marwa tribe, and we are met for the marriage of Tarzan and Velda. Are you ready for this marriage, my daughter?
Yes, my father.
Are you ready for this marriage, Tarzan?
Great Chief, members of the Marwat tribe. Before I came to your village, Velda was the promised one of Kalo. I won her from him through a wrestling match that was meant to prove me braver than he. But since then, many things have happened. I was caught by the Tamangani, and I was forced to go to their camp. But the brave Kalo came willingly into the camp of the enemy to save my life and to save all Marwas from slavery. He has proven himself bravest, and I cannot claim Velda for my bride.
You have spoken true, my son, and I decide. Velda, would you take Kalo as husband?
Kalo and Velda promised since childhood. Velda take Kalo with happiness.
Kalo, would you take Velda as wife?
Kalo embraces Velda as wife, and Tarzan as greatest of Marwat tribe.
So be it. Let nuptial feast begin.
We'll tell you about our next story in just a moment. In our next story, we relate the experience of Tarzan and the Hooded Death. Nowhere in the jungle is a danger so great as the one to be feared from the Hooded Death. Elephants and lions and tigers shrink from its approach. Savages scream at the mention of its dread name. And you too will feel the chill of terror in the story we relate.
Tarzan, a transcribed creation of the famous Edgar Rice Burroughs, is produced by Walter White, Jr., prepared for radio by Bud Lesser, with original music by Albert Glasser. This is a Commodore production.
This is your FBI. This is your FBI, an official broadcast of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, presented as a public service by the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. To your FBI, you look for national security, and to the Equitable Society for financial security. These two great institutions are dedicated to the protection of you, your home, and your country. During the course of tonight's opening broadcast, you will hear from Mr. Thomas I. Parkinson, President of the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States, and Mr. J. Edgar Hoover, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Tonight, the story of a crime against the nation, espionage.
Spying just like any other business. A spy gets paid so much a week to do so much work. And in most cases, that salary is small because most spies gather only small bits of information. But when these bits are pieced together in Berlin or Tokyo, the result is a stolen invention or a sunken concept. That's why spies are ordinary people working in ordinary places. Places like a waterfront where ships can be watched. Places like a factory where parts for a new plane can be copied. Places like a bar where people talk, and talk too much.
Oh, brother, you should have seen her.
Yeah?
She was steaming right into that bay when, zoom, out from no place come a zero.
Zero.
Bang.
Bang is right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I get any on you?
No, but it's all over you, Junior.
Willie.
Gee, I'm sorry. 1,000 apologies, fair lady. 1,000,000.
Oh, look at that.
Will you wipe it up, Willie, and get him another drink?
Sure. Excuse me, young man.
You're awfully cute, Junior, but you're getting a little messy.
Poor battle wagon. She's sunk now.
Sunk off Guam?
Yeah, but they got a new one. The biggest, best. Well, it's a heck of a battle wagon.
It must be, Junior.
You're pretty.
You hear that, George?
Shit. Where's my drink?
I'll get it right away, sir.
Where was I?
You were talking about that battle wagon.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Say, I'll tell you what. Friday morning, you walk up to the top of the street here, and you'll see the newest battle wagon and the best maybe in the world come steaming down the bay. She's just been commissioned.
Excuse me, sir. It's still dripping on you.
Yes. Then you'll see a real ship.
Well, then let's drink to her.
No. Let's drink to you. To the most beautiful girl. Oh.
What's the matter, baby?
I don't feel so good.
Junior, now you've got
I
it.
think I'd better...
Here you are, son. You go right back there.
Thanks. Excuse me. Be right back.
Poor Junior.
Oh, it's a shame.
What is, Willie?
Those kids, they want to enjoy themselves, so they sit with people and drink too much. They talk too much.
Talk too much.
Say, do you think we
I
were...
don't say you did anything. I just think it's the same, that's all.
Let's get out of here, George. I'm sick of this dump.
Okay. Here you are.
Thank you. What about your friend?
Tell him we'll wait for him outside.
That was in January 1943. Early in February, 3 letters were brought to the attention of the FBI. 3 pleasant letters typewritten in English. 3 innocent letters intercepted on their way to Switzerland. 3 friendly letters containing, among other bits of information, a report and description of the newest battleship launched by our Navy.
Come in. Hello, Dan.
Hi.
I've been waiting for you. Pull up a chair.
Thanks, Ross.
You look bushed.
Yeah, I am, kind of.
Why don't you try hitting the hay early?
Are you kidding? I was in bed at 11:30 last night. But starting at midnight, the phone rang every hour on the hour. My wife says she wishes she'd married a doctor instead of an FBI agent.
My wife's been wishing that for 15 years. Did you read those letters from Switzerland, then?
Yes. Very dull if you don't happen to catch the parts printed in secret ink on the back. Have they been sent to the laboratory yet?
No, they just got here.
Oh, we'll send them through. Check the printing on the back. It's in German, isn't it?
Yes. Not in code, though.
That's a help. Let's see. We'll have the ink checked, typewriter, paper. They're all signed Henry Brown.
Yes, and all postmarked New York City.
Well, there must be a slew of Henry Browns in a small town like New York. And it's probably an alias anyway.
That's my guess, too.
We'll check up on him anyway and see what the laboratory has to say.
A spy doesn't usually know exactly how much information he'll be able to pick up or exactly when or where he will get it. He knows, of course, that convoy movements in general are valuable. And he knows, too, that he may get this information from Navy or waterfront personnel. He knows he may be able to pick it up around the docks. But he's never sure just how much information will fall into his eager lap, just when, and from just whom. Sometimes it may come accidentally at an odd moment, such as during a practice air raid, a blackout, say, near the harbor in New York City.
Lights out! All lights out! Mrs. Johnson, turn out that bathroom light!
Quiet, Blitzen. This is a blackout.
Mrs. Johnson! Turn out that bathroom light. Lights out. All lights out.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Gordon.
Having trouble?
Just with Mrs. Johnson, as usual.
She's dark now.
Yeah, now, but I always have to yell my head off. She's a fine one. And my wife tells me she's always complaining about Rachel, too, and how she can't get enough coal. Quiet, Blitzen, quiet.
Is Blitzen sick?
They just had distemper. People like Mrs. Johnson ought to wake up and learn there's a war going on. Blackouts are very important.
If I weren't a warden, you wouldn't find me out tonight.
Aren't you feeling too good, Mr. Gordon?
My kid's home on liberty, and this is his last night.
Well, he'll be back soon.
Not this time. He says he's going on a convoy run to Russia.
Russia? Quite a trip.
Yeah.
And he's leaving tomorrow?
Or the day after.
Can you imagine? Just came back, too, from... Where was it?
Italy. But that was a short run. They just dumped some machinery there.
Airplane parts, probably.
No. For tanks, I think he said it was.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, how's business at the bar, Mr. Sebring?
Well, it's pretty good, thanks. Well, I think this will be a short blackout tonight.
I hope so.
Me, too. I got to write a letter before I go to bed.
Business?
No, it's to a friend in Switzerland.
Oh, you were over there in 41, weren't you?
Yeah. Fine country. Well, good night, Mr. Gordon.
Good night, Mr. Sebring.
A spy, you see, can be a very ordinary man. He doesn't have to live in a penthouse and drive a low-slung car. He doesn't have to work with a bulging wallet and an exotic woman. He doesn't have to employ gunmen disguised as chauffeurs or secretaries or waiters. He can be a waiter himself. A waiter in a sick dog. A waiter named Willie Seabrook. As a matter of fact, it's better for the enemy if he is, because ordinary men like Willie Seabrook are hard to track down.
Well, Ross, we know what kind of a typewriter our friend used, and we've had every agent in New York checking on them.
What angle are you working on?
We're taking the chance that a good percentage of the drivel he writes in English to his Swiss friend is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So we've drawn up a list of what the man's like, and we're checking that. Want to see it?
Yeah.
Here you are.
Thanks. Can speak and write both English and German fluently.
You can get that, of course, just from the languages used in the letters.
He's married, has a dog that had distemper recently, and lives near the New York harbor.
That's just a guess.
This is a good one. He probably poses as a great patriot, inasmuch as he is an air raid warden. He asked his friend in Switzerland to address him as Dear Willie in his letter. He came back from Europe in the spring of 1941. He was...
Wait a minute.
Get something?
I don't know. I'm looking over this letter you just brought in. Listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to wander through Lisbon again, particularly at this time of the year.
Lisbon, eh?
Yes. He came back from Lisbon in the spring of 41, Ross.
If he's writing the truth.
Well, we've got to take a chance on that.
What are you going to do?
Check on everybody who came into this country from Lisbon in the spring of 41.
We don't even know the name he came in under.
No, but we know what his handwriting's like. And if he came in from Lisbon, he had baggage. And if he had baggage, he had to declare it in his real name. And if he declared it, he had to declare it in handwriting.
Sure, but there must be hundreds of those baggage declarations.
There are thousands of air raid wardens, and with dogs.
Okay. Ever look for a needle in a haystack before?
Yep, I have. But this time, we're going to find it.
We momentarily close the Federal Bureau of Investigation file on the case of Willie Sebring. We will return to this case in just a moment. It is now my privilege to present the President of the Equitable Society of the United States, Mr. Thomas I. Parkinson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You deserve a clear and forthright statement of the reason why the Equitable has undertaken the sponsorship of these radio broadcasts. For 86 years, this mutual society has shielded the financial welfare of millions of American families. And whenever there has been an opportunity for the Equitable to serve the public interest, we have gladly undertaken that privilege. We believe that no medium more vital than this official FBI broadcast could be used to bring the society closer to its members and those who may become members in the future. Our business, too, is the business of safeguarding the security of the American family. Whether it be through the provision of life insurance protection for your loved ones, or the protection of your homes and property, or the financing of industry to make more and better jobs, or the participation in war bond subscriptions and other war activities. In fact, in nearly every form of security other than the services rendered by your FBI, the Equitable considers itself your partner and your friend. Through the medium of these radio programs, we hope to let you know of the manifold ways in which the Equitable can serve and is serving you and your community. Our business is carrying on into the next generation the benefits of savings in this generation. Public service and human relationships, the preservation of homes for widows and children, the education of sons and daughters, the security and comfort of thousands of elderly men and women living in retirement, and finally, the peace of mind of the American citizen is the mission of our society. And after all, there could be no closer parallel to the objectives of your Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Thank you, Mr. Parkinson. And now we continue with the file on the case of Willie Sebring, spy.
Being a special agent of the FBI is a business, too, but a business unlike any other. An FBI agent, for example, must be a college graduate or have a degree in law or accounting. He must go to school all over again when he enters the Bureau. He must be intelligent, observant, and thorough. So thorough that the notion of examining hundreds and hundreds of baggage declarations will not faze him. Actually, special agents of the FBI discovered that from February 1st to May 5th, 1941, boats sailing from Lisbon brought 3,095 aliens and 1,786 citizens to the port of New York. Approximately 5,000 people. Approximately 5,000 baggage declarations to check. Approximately 5,000 samples of handwriting to check against the handwriting on the letters to Switzerland. To match, to examine, to scrutinize, to sweat over, pore over, work over.
Wait a minute. I think we've got it. Here. Here, look. You see that M? See that German F? Get the slant of the print here. Here. I think we've got it. I think the laboratory will back us up that Mr. William Sebring is our boy.
William Sebring, eh?
I'd almost swear to it, Ross.
What's the report on him?
He was born in Germany, but he became a citizen here in 1925.
That takes in the languages.
He's married, and he's an air raid warden.
Has he got a dog?
Well, the ASPCA has 3 dogs registered in his wife's name.
I see.
It follows all the way down the line, Ross. He lives near the harbor. He works in a bar near the harbor.
Come in.
This just came over the teletype.
Thanks.
Ross, if Willie Sebring isn't the man, no one is.
Sit down, Dan.
Huh? What's the matter?
Sit down. Mr. Hoover sent this over the teletype exactly 7 minutes ago. Concluded question script writing on intercepts this case, written by William Sebring. Baggage declaration and letter to bank written by Sebring. However,
insufficient samples to ascertain whether Sebring hand-printed German messages in secret ink. Also, no typewriting specimens available for comparison.
Not enough proof.
I'm afraid not, Dan.
Okay. Now what?
I think Sebring's the man. I think Mr. Hoover does, too.
So we need more proof.
Yes. More samples of his handwriting. And his printing, if we can get it.
And typewriter specimens.
That's right. Get them, and we get Sebring.
I'm going to pay a call on Mr. Willie Sebring.
You may scare him.
Not this way. His wife rents rooms in their house. I've been instructed to be a roomer. I'll be a welder working in the Navy Yard. That ought to interest Willie.
Quiet, Preston. Quiet.
Hello.
Hello. Well?
Can I rent a room here?
Oh, well, I'm sorry. My wife takes care of that, and she's out now.
Oh, gee, that's tough. I wanted to get a room right away.
Why don't you try across the street? They've got a room there.
Oh, thanks. I guess it doesn't matter. Same distance from the Navy Yard.
Be quiet, Preston. Quiet.
Well, hello there, old sport.
Do you like dogs?
Sure.
Well, in that case, I tell you what. My wife will probably bite my head off, but we have a room on the top floor.
Oh, thanks. I don't want to get you and your wife.
No, it's all right. Come on in.
Well, thanks, Mr.
Sebring. Willie Sebring.
Dan Braddock.
Glad to meet you.
Thanks.
You know why I'm really giving you this room?
No, why?
The Navy Yard.
I don't get you.
Any man who works for the war effort, I do what I can for.
Say, you're a real patriot, Mr. Sebring.
100%. Right this way.
For $6 a week, the special agent posing as Dan Braddock, welder, rented a room from Willie Sebring, spy. And at the end of the week, that room was worth exactly $6 and no more. The agent found that Sebring left the house each day at 3 p.m., went to the bar, came home for supper at 8:30, and went to the bar until midnight. He found that there were two roomers in the house beside himself. He found that Sebring spent most of his time in the attic, which had a view of the harbor. Beyond that, he found nothing. And the letters to Switzerland had stopped. So on the afternoon of the 21st of May, Mr. Willie Sebring's hand was forced.
No, Blitzen, no. No, I said no. If you eat too much, you'll get sick again. Now, be quiet.
Excuse me, Mr. Sebring.
Oh, hello, Mr. Braddock. Come on in.
Thanks.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Well, still on the night shift, huh?
Yeah.
Well, those new ships probably need very careful work.
Oh, they do, but they're honeys.
Oh, I'm sure.
I sneaked a picture of one I wanted to send to my kid brother. He's in the Pacific.
A picture, huh?
Yeah. Say, Mr. Sebring, I wonder, could you do me a favor?
Well, I'd be only too glad to, sure.
I want to send this package to the kid, but I can't address it. Well, you see, I burnt my hand last night.
Oh, Ma, that's a shame.
Oh, it's not too bad. It doesn't bother me, except I can't hold a pen in it.
That's tough.
I was wondering if you had a typewriter in the house. You know, I could type up a label.
A typewriter?
Yeah.
No, there's no typewriter here. I'll tell you what, though, my handwriting isn't so good, but I could print the address for you in ink.
Swell. I'd appreciate
Well,
that.
it's no trouble at all. Listen, be quiet. That dog will be the death of me one of these days. Now, who does this go to?
Sergeant Fred Braddock.
S-E-R-G.
Once again, a handwriting specimen comes to the FBI laboratory. In all, 5,376 specimens were checked in this one case. But this is the last. This is it. This is proof, neatly signed by Willie Sebring himself. Only one thing more remains. One missing piece of evidence. One last final proof. a typewriter.
Hiya, Blitzen, old boy. What's the matter with you tonight, huh? Lonely for your master? Well, he'll be back later. But in the meantime, we'll have a little look around without him, huh? We'll see where it... Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't scare me out of my wits.
I really am sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you. My name is...
I know. You're Mr. Braddock.
How do you know?
Mrs. Sebring told me.
Well, I didn't know you lived here.
Well, I board here, but I've been away on a 2-week vacation.
Oh. Did you take your typewriter with you?
Why, yes. Why?
Oh, I was looking for one the other day.
Well, you can borrow this any time you want. Everybody else in the house does.
From Mr. Sebring down, huh?
Mainly Mr. Sebring.
At 2:30 p.m. on the 5th of May, Willie Sebring left his house, walked to the corner, and waited for a bus. He never caught that bus because 2 special agents of the FBI came up, identified themselves, and asked him to go with them to their New York office to answer some questions. Willie Sebring smiled. He was a patriot, so he went willingly. At 3:15 that afternoon, he sat in conference room C on the 6th floor of the FBI office in New York.
Mr. Sebring, I want to tell you frankly that you don't have to answer any questions if you don't want to.
Oh, I consider it my duty as a citizen to answer questions. Don't you, Mr. Braddock?
We all do. But you understand, Mr. Sebring, that anything you say can be used against you later on.
Against me? Sure, of course I understand that, but if anything I've done, it certainly was done innocently.
Okay. Mr. Sebring, were you in Lisbon in the spring of 1941?
Why, yes, as a tourist.
Where were you born?
In Europe?
Germany?
Yes, but now I'm a citizen of the United States, of course. And I'm an air raid warden.
I know that.
Mr. Sebring, look at this baggage declaration. Did you write it?
Yes, when I came back from Lisbon.
Okay. Look at this package. Did you address it?
Well, yes. Mr. Braddock said it was for his brother. But I guess...
Mr. Sebring, look at this letter, please. No. Look at the back, where the secret ink has been developed. Did you write that?
Yeah. Could I have a cigarette?
Spying is just like any other business. Its market is the enemy. Its merchandise is talk, gossip, conversation in a bar, on a street, on a train. In times like this, in wartime, the FBI is more alert, more watchful than ever. It has a tremendous job before it. In this country, espionage is under control. But remember, talk is the merchandise of spying, and its market is the enemy. What you talk about in a public place may seem unimportant to you. But if it's anything connected with a war, you may be helping spies. You may be writing a letter to Tokyo or Berlin.
Before we close tonight's file, it is our special privilege and pleasure to introduce the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who is in Washington, Mr. J. Edgar Hoover.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Your FBI hopes that these broadcasts will help you to know more about the organization which is dedicated to the safeguarding of your welfare and that of your family. Perhaps through these radio broadcasts, you will not only be entertained by the stories of your FBI in action, but you may also gain a better appreciation of your own personal responsibility to your family and to the community in which you live. And I want both you and Mr. Parkinson to know that speaking for myself and for the whole Bureau, I am especially pleased that these messages are being brought to you under the sponsorship of another institution which likewise is dedicated to the security of the family, the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. Every man, woman, and child in this nation should be alert and ever watchful for the slightest information which might lead to prevention of a crime by our enemies within and without the United States. While our fighting men all over the world are tonight meeting the enemy on land, in the air, and on the sea, it is a duty of every one of us to protect them by guarding the homeland they have left in our trust. It is my sincere hope that these broadcasts will enable you to know more about how to cooperate with your local police officials and every branch of law enforcement in your community. I also hope that you will come to know your FBI as a group of men and women who seek no personal glory and who are part of a great team serving you, your family, and the nation.
The incidents used in tonight's broadcast are taken from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. However, all names used are fictitious. Any similarity thereof to the names of persons living or dead is accidental. In tonight's cast, the part of Sebring was played by James Van Dyke, Dan by Carl Swenson, and Ross by Jeffrey Bryant. Others in the cast were Francis Cheney, Helen Lewis, Will Hare, Chuck Webster, Jack McBride, and Brad Barker. The music for tonight's performance was under the direction of Van Cleve. The author was Lawrence MacArthur, and your narrator was Frank Lovejoy. This Is Your FBI is a Jerry Devine production. This is Carl Frank speaking for the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States, and inviting you to tune in again next week at this same time for This Is Your FBI.
Network of the American Broadcasting Company.
My name's Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Gambler and His Lady.
You find it in Hollywood, on Taft Avenue. 4-story apartment building, the color of a rainy afternoon. They call it the Havenwood. It sags in the middle like a tired Frankfurter. That's where I live. Apartment 3K. 2 rooms with a pull-down bed and a pair of windows that stick when it's hot. Oh, the view isn't much. 6 strands of telephone wire and the head of a shaved-off palm tree. Beyond is the city, L.A., spread out on the map like a raw egg with a broken yolk. Oh, the town's all right, I guess, if you can afford the sedatives. The Lion likes it. He set himself up as a receiving clerk for trouble, and I work for him. It was about 11:15 Tuesday night when my phone began making itself felt. Turned out to be the Lion breathing hard. It figured he was running his fingers over a greenback.
Regan, want to hear the sound of a brand new $50 bill?
Send me a record.
What's the matter? You sound like you're flat on your back.
How do you sleep?
Who's sleeping? I'm working, and that's what you're going to be doing.
Try me tomorrow.
Throw on some clothes. You're going down to Venice Boulevard to see a lady. She's got daughter trouble.
Well, marry her off.
She didn't pay us $50 for that. The problem goes deeper.
How much?
She'll tell you.
I want it from you.
I don't know it all for sure.
Don't you ever check into things?
I do the general work. You get the details.
Yeah, you drag a wet rag over the 50, and if the ink stays on, we got a client.
That's insulting.
How would you know?
Regan, you don't want to keep a lady waiting. Now get a move on.
Give me the name.
Mrs. Eleanor Bascom, Pierpont Hotel.
Yeah?
And phone me after you talk to her.
What for?
I want to be sure it's legit.
Do you care?
Better make that call to me tomorrow after 10. I'm sort of going to be tied up till then.
Doing what?
Sleeping.
Well, I put on some clothes, picked up my car, and moved out to Venice Boulevard. The good humor men were all gone, and I had the street to myself. 20 minutes later, I came to a stop beside a garbage can near San Pedro. Behind it stood the Pierpont Hotel, a 2-deck pile of wood left over from the sinking of the Spanish Armada. There was a black and dirty white sign outside, said rooms 50 cents, weekly and monthly rates. The names Eleanor and Georgia Bascom showed in the mailbox and gave a room 210. I climbed a flight of stairs and walked down a hall that looked like a passageway in a pyramid. It was dark, and it took my cigarette lighter to turn up the numbers. 210 finally showed, and I rapped on the door. A bush of black and gray hair pulled it open. It was wearing a red kimono and an impatient look, like a tax collector in January. She was pushing 50 and looked tired.
Yes?
I'm Regan, international detective.
Oh, yes, the Lion's Eye. I've been waiting for you. Come in. I'm Mrs. Bascom.
Eleanor or Georgia?
Georgia's my daughter.
Oh.
I want to apologize for getting you out here this time of night, Mr. Regan, but it's urgent.
The Lion said that the girl's the problem. Huh?
Yes,
How old is she?
22.
Who's the man?
How'd you know there was a man?
Well, what other kind of trouble would she go after?
She's a good girl, Mr. Regan. She always has been.
Until now. Huh?
That's what I want to know.
Well, she's old enough to call her plays.
That's not the advice I'm paying for.
Where'd you get the 50?
It took a lot of saving.
All right, give me his name.
Louis Desmond.
Gambler, card sharp, bookie, all-around con man.
He's got a card room out toward Gardena someplace, the Five Aces Club.
What does your daughter see in him?
Oh, it's this place. The way we have to live. She's tired of having nothing. I've tried, but she's looking for a change.
And taking a wrong turn.
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, other girls have it real tough. They go to work.
Well, we had a little trouble in the family once. It shows up if someone starts looking.
When can I talk to Georgia?
Well, you'll have to work that out yourself, Mr. Regan.
What does that mean?
She put some clothes in a suitcase and left earlier this evening. That's why I had to call you so suddenly.
Mm-hmm. Where'd she go?
Louis is a real bum, Mr. Regan.
You talk like you know him.
We've met. I want to know just what's going on. If Louis is forcing her into anything crooked.
She force easy?
A fur coat makes a young girl do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a picture of her. You may need it.
Mm-hmm.
Not very good, but the only one I've got.
I'll make it work.
That's about all, Mr. Regan. Get in touch with me as soon as you get something.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Regan.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I'm the kind of person who sometimes gets hysterical over things, but I'm also the kind who demands results.
You sound like a radio commercial. It was after midnight when I followed the fog out Vermont toward Gardena. The yellow lights were pressing, but they were doing about as much good as a pint of bourbon at a Shriners convention. I wound around the flatland for a while before the Five Aces Club turned up by a bend in the road. It looked like a blue wart with a neon sign. There was a front door and a back one, and a couple of pairs of shoulders standing at each. A little guy in a pinstripe gray was figuring the size of the wallets going in. Louis Desmond's office showed at the top of the stairway, and I moved for it. But a muscle looking down on 6 feet was playing frontman. He put a knotted hand on my arm, and when he spoke, it sounded like a gear factory doing double time.
Slow down, Pilgrim.
The room you're looking for is the other way.
Yeah, well, this one says office.
That's the trouble with you guys who read. Can't take hints.
Spell it out.
Beat it.
Not until I see Louis Desmond.
What's your business?
I'll tell it to him.
You owe him some dough?
No, I don't.
Then he ain't interested.
He will be.
Listen, Junior,
Come
I
on,
told
get him
you
off
to
of me,
pull
punk.
up.
What's all the noise, Patsy?
Sightseer without a ticket.
My name's Regan.
Cup?
Maybe.
You want me to bounce him down the stairs, boss?
Maybe. What do you want?
Talk.
That's always a waste of time.
Not if it's about Georgia Bascom.
Come on in. Never saw you around here before, Regan.
No, I can't afford it.
Oh, don't say that. Some people go out of here with more than they come in with.
Yeah, you.
Guess you're right at that. Cigar?
No, thanks.
Well, what about Georgia, Regan?
You tell me.
That doesn't add. You came to see me.
She's got a worried mother.
They're all like that.
Now, this one figures you're doing a little forcing.
Oh.
You'd know more about that.
Give me a clue.
Blackmail, maybe?
You're a kick. Arthur Godfrey'd love to get a hold of you.
I come too high.
Let me give you some good advice. Go home and pull a blanket over your head and say it's all a bad dream.
You know, you talk a lot, mister, but you don't say much. What's the hold on Georgia?
All right, wise guy. Honey. Come over here, baby. Regan, you know this girl?
I've seen a picture.
Georgia, this is a peeper named Regan. He come to rescue you.
But what for, Mr. Regan?
$50.
My mother gave you that to come and take me back?
Something like that.
But I can't go.
Why not?
Well,
Go ahead. Show him, baby.
look, Regan. 3 carats.
With a wedding band to match.
On what dice table did you pick those up?
Stop the noise, Regan. Congratulate the lady.
Not on a bad mistake.
Listen, Shamus.
Oh, never mind him, Louis. He doesn't matter.
When did the furs come?
Louis said soon. Tell Mama we're married and not to worry. We're going away for a few days.
Ensenada for some gambling and fishing.
You won't enjoy it.
Sure I will. You'll be in L.A.
The alley behind the Five Aces Club hadn't been dusted in a week. My brown flannel suit fixed that. Well, I picked myself up and made it for the car. Moving north on Vermont, I tried to add a couple of things. There was a funny smell in Louis's office when I first walked in, like rope on fire. Somebody'd been there before me who smoked cubebs. Desmond worked on cigars. Georgia held a king-size Pall Mall. Well, whoever it was still played it coy. About 1 o'clock, I started raising a small campaign with the Lion's door knocker. His dream must have been a real good one because it took him 10 minutes to get to the door. He was wearing a nightgown, and he looked like a poor imitation of the Fisk tire ad. All that was missing was the candle.
Regan, I told you not to bother me until after 10 a.m.
It's no bother.
Get out of here, let a man sleep.
Your dreams will be bad.
What do you mean?
You just lost a client.
What's the matter? The money phony?
Georgia Bascom married Desmond. There's nothing I can do about it.
Well, think of something. Say you married her first.
You're out of your mind.
So it's a bad idea. Get a good
Yeah,
one.
I already have.
What is it?
You give Mrs. Bascom her case back.
Well, you can't do that.
Try me.
Think a minute, Regan. She's come to us for help. A lonely woman with no place to turn entrusts her trouble to International.
You got that 50 spent?
It's not the money, it's the moral obligation.
Oh, stop it, will you? You don't give blood anymore since you found out somebody'd pay for it.
You're getting out of line.
You're the only guy in town who can turn a shaving cut into a bankroll.
That's enough. Well, let's do it this way. You go over to Mrs. Bascom and give her the lowdown. Let her decide if she wants you to carry on or not.
You sure go to a lot of trouble for a 50.
I need a lot of new stuff around the place.
Well, it's close to Christmas, right to Santa Claus. Well, I left the Lion looking for a fountain pen, and I drove out to Venice Boulevard in the Pierpont Hotel. The place still looked the same. A black Nash was parked up the block, the motor going. A couple of cats were doing a duet on a garbage can. I climbed the stairs to the second floor, and I started down the hall for 210, walking real easy to keep the boards from creaking, but somebody else didn't care about the noise. There was a gun with a silencer working in Mrs. Bascom's room. I pushed the door in, but by then all I could hear was silence. The light showed an open window by the fire escape, and the wind was blowing the curtains. Mrs. Bascom lay face down on the bed, real still, and the holes in her blanket were turning wet. The lion really lost a client that time. Well, it didn't take Sanducci and the boys long to get there. The fingerprint men and the photographers went to work in the room. Sanducci picked me. He had a grouch on like a fat lady in an upper berth.
What's the matter, Regan? You get lost?
What do you mean?
You're pretty far from home.
Well, I get around.
Who is she?
Name's Eleanor Bascom.
I know that. What'd she do? Where'd she come from?
I don't know.
What were you doing out here?
She called in the lion. Her daughter ran off with Louis Desmond.
Oh, he in it? How far?
Ask him.
Mrs. Bascom wants you to bring her daughter back.
She wanted to know if the girl was moving into a racket.
Was she?
I haven't found out.
I should have known better than to ask a detective. Why didn't she call us?
She was behind on her taxes.
What do you do, Private? Sit up nights figuring ways to make my job harder?
You through with me?
No. Who killed her, Regan?
I don't know.
Bad choice of words.
Go check a black Nash parked up the street.
Got a license number?
No, I haven't.
Thanks a lot.
Look, I'm no medium. I didn't know she was marked.
Any other big ideas?
A few.
Well, keep them to yourself. They're all wrong. Now get out of here.
Yeah. Say, Sanducci.
Yeah?
The lion can handle another client now.
So what?
Want to sign up? Well, I went home and slept. Coffee and warmed over biscuits at the drugstore took care of breakfast the next morning. Then I checked the phone book. Louis Desmond's home address turned up on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, and so I drove out there. It was on a corner. A 2-story colonial place with white pillars and green shutters. The doorbell sounded like a second chorus at the Hollywood Bowl. The Japanese maid let me in, and I waited in the anteroom. That's when I caught that peculiar smell again. Somebody had just been there who smoked those Q-Beb cigarettes. Well, a couple of minutes later, a tall blonde fighting 30 stepped up to me. She smelled like she just crawled out of a bottle of Platine. It was a bright morning, but she had the kind of look that had you wishing for an eclipse.
Well, what do you want?
Louis Desmond.
Census taker?
No.
What's he done?
I don't know yet. Where is he?
I don't know where he is. He didn't come home last night.
Lots of work at the office?
Card room out in Gardena.
Lots of work out there?
He didn't say. He doesn't tell me everything.
Should he?
Depends on what you think of your marriage vows.
Who are you?
His wife. Want a drink, mister?
Sure.
What'll it be?
Yours?
Bourbon. You pour. I don't know when to stop.
All right. Here you go.
To marriage. It's a mess.
Cigarette?
Never touch 'em. Interferes with my drinking.
Who smokes the Q-Bebs?
Is that what that stuff is?
Yeah.
The little guy walked in here looking for Louis and smelled up the place.
Hiya, Stella.
Oh, hello, Patsy. Just in time for a drink.
Company?
Yeah. What's your name, fella?
He knows.
You learn hard, don't you, Regan?
What's going on?
He's an eye.
So what?
So he gets a bounce.
He's my friend.
Beat it, Seamus, or I'll split you.
Stay right where you are. This is my house, and I'll entertain who I want.
With the boss's liquor?
I've got some rights.
Well, figure out what they are and try 'em on the boss.
I don't like you, Patsy.
Beat it, Peeper.
Get your paws off of me. Come on, get him off.
Stop it, Patsy. Stop it, I said.
Well, you hit him pretty hard, lady.
No, I didn't. His head's soft.
Well, I left her picking up pieces of glass, and I drove back toward Hollywood. I was moving east on Sunset, trying to make some sense out of Desmond's domestic life, when I spotted that black sedan again. It was doing a real bad tag job on me. I pushed the pedal closer to the floor, but the sedan had better gas. It caught me going around a bend past Beverly Glen and started pushing me. Oh, it was a great place for a boulevard stop, but none showed. All it did was a reflection in my rearview mirror of the driver in the black sedan. It was feminine, and the voice spelled out Georgia Bascom. That's when she moved in for a closer look.
You are listening to the story of the gambler and his ladies, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, investigator. Listen, this is good news. Good news for you if you're between the ages of 20 and 26 and a half, married or single, a high school graduate, and want to fly for the United States Air Force. Yes, the Air Force Aviation Cadet Program is offering you the opportunity to become a pilot officer in the mightiest Air Force in history. You can be one of the Air Force's men of renown. And there's more offered than the pride you feel in being a member of America's flying team. For after your 52 weeks of training, you'll graduate as a second lieutenant in the Air Force with an income of more than $300 per month. Remember, the Air Force offers you what it offered General Jimmy Doolittle, General Carl Spaatz, and General Hoyt Vandenberg, now at 42, the Air Force Chief of Staff. Call at your local Army and Air Force recruiting station tomorrow. Apply to become an aviation cadet. And now, back to the story of the gambler and his ladies and Jeff Regan, investigator.
Well, things were moving as fast as the last reel in a Western movie. The Lion sent me out to see a lady who was having daughter trouble. Georgia Bascom had done a tie-in with a gambler named Louis Desmond, only it looked real permanent. She was wearing his wedding ring, and the mother ended up carrying a couple of bullets, and homicide moved in. That's when I met a blonde at Desmond's house who said she was Louis's wife. Well, I was working on the mess when a black sedan with Georgia at the wheel ran me off the road, and the slugs began to fly. I peeled myself off the side of the hill, and I got in touch with the police. Sanducci took over and invited me to headquarters for some more talk. He put me in a little room with pale green walls and sat behind a big desk chewing a dead cigar. It was taking me all in like a Hoover vacuum cleaner on a dirty rug.
Well, how do you feel, Regan?
All right.
You shouldn't.
Why not?
Looks to me like from here on in you're a marked man.
I'll get along.
It'll be real interesting to see how.
All right, now look, have you got something to say?
Maybe.
Well, let's hear it.
Relax, Regan. You're not going anyplace.
You can't hold me. I was the one who got shot at.
Well, that's enough. I'll work out a way to hold you for creating a disturbance.
It won't work.
Listen, you. The bullets we pulled out of your upholstery match the ones in Mrs. Bascom's.
So what?
So we figure she was knocked off because she knew something somebody didn't want said. We also figure that applies to you.
Yeah, well, that gets you nothing.
All right, Regan. Play it your way this time. You'll come running back when the haters close in.
Don't make book on it.
Well, if you gotta get yourself knocked off, don't mess up our city streets.
Yeah, I'll be real careful.
Oh, and wear a dark suit that save our morticians a little trouble.
That all?
Yeah, go on, beat it, sure. Oh, Regan.
Yeah.
E buffi de tuo padre.
What's that mean?
Your father's mustache.
Well, it was late afternoon by the time I walked out of headquarters. The sun was still working, but it was cold. The cab driver, with a lot of conversation, drove me to my place over on Taft. When I opened my front door, I smelled it again, those cubebs. A small face was sitting on my sofa, sucking on them. It belonged to a guy who had to stand on a box to see over a fox terrier. When I shut the door behind me, he ground the cigarette into an ashtray and turned on a nervous look like a pig in a football factory.
Your landlady let me in, Mr. Regan. I hope you don't mind. I have to talk to you.
We met before.
We did? I don't remember.
Just me and your cigarettes.
Huh? Oh, you mind if I smoke?
You just finished one.
Oh, yes, so I did. May I have a drink, then? Just a small one.
All right.
Thank you. I generally don't drink, but tonight Yeah, thank you. Now, I barely know where to begin.
Well, you better figure it out. You haven't got much time.
Yes, yeah. Well...
Start with a name.
Is that necessary?
Yeah, it is.
Loper, Max Loper. I'm a businessman.
What kind?
What kind? Furrier. Yeah, I'm a furrier, Mr. Regan. All sorts of furs, ermines, nice. Generally, I prefer sable, but it depends on the woman, you know.
What does Georgia get?
Beg pardon?
Let it go.
Yeah. I'm not the man I used to be, Mr. Regan. My fortunes have changed. Yeah, changed. I think I better have that cigarette.
Save it for later and start making sense.
Well, I need help.
Why come to me?
Well, Mrs. Bascom thought enough of you to ask you to help her. You see, I know Mrs. Bascom. That is, I knew Mrs. Bascom. Her death was so sudden.
It was forced.
Yeah, so the papers say. But, Mr. Regan, I want you to know I didn't do it.
Who said you did?
Well, nobody yet. But I didn't do it.
Look, why tell me?
There's nobody else I can tell.
Try the police.
No, that's what I can't do. I want you to prove to them that I wouldn't do a thing like that.
Loper, what's your tie-in with Desmond?
Desmond, why? There is no tie-in.
You were at his card room. I smelled your cigarettes there. You got nothing, I guess, and you went to his house.
Mr. Regan, that's got nothing to do with it.
I think different.
But you're wrong, all wrong.
Convince me.
I didn't do the murder. That's what I want you to tell the police.
Who did?
I don't know.
Well, now I think you do. Come on. Who killed George's mother?
It was her stepmother who was killed.
Give me some more.
Oh, you got me all confused. I guess coming to you for help was a bad idea.
Something was.
I'll find somebody else who doesn't ask so many questions. I better go.
No, not yet, little man. You got too many answers.
Take your hands off me. Now, Mr. Regan, I never used one of these, but the theory is simple. Just pull the trigger.
If you can find it.
Don't urge me. Open the door. Go on.
Sure.
Now step away. See you later, Mr. Regan. Hey, Loper.
He made it to the staircase, and then the noise came. A couple of bullets flew up the spiral and caught him in the chest. He stopped in midair for a second like a yo-yo on a string, and then he toppled over and rolled down. By the time I got to him, he was all used up. Well, a call into homicide brought some of the boys out, and they took care of him. A fat guy with a head like a plunger took him pictures for a paper, and a girl with a leaky fountain pen got the story. Took about an hour and a half to clear my place. But the minute the crowd moved out, the lion moved in. He had a sheet of paper in one hand, and his face was lit up like an old maid at a cocktail party.
This concerns Louis Desmond and Georgia Bascom. You interested?
Yeah?
Desmond's got a wife, and her name's not Georgia.
No, it's Stella, and she's a ripe candidate for a drunk tank.
What else do you know about her?
She's jealous.
Well, there's no record any place of a divorce or of a marriage between Georgia and Desmond. That whole setup's a phony.
Tell me why.
Georgia's father, named Peter Bascom, was a furrier, and he was once in on a fur job with the same Louis Desmond.
Go on.
The old Bascom ended up with a bullet in him, and Louis with a pile of dough.
How did it work?
I can't find out everything. You got to do something.
You know a Max Loper?
Never heard of him.
You got an address on this Georgia?
The Lorena Hotel, room 406, on Catalina, off Wilshire.
All right.
The way I figured, an insurance company might be real interested to get hold of her.
No, the gas chamber's got priority.
We figured the swindle first, collect the fat bonus, then let the city handle her any way it wants. Call me when you get it all sewed up.
What are you going to be doing?
Resting at home. I'm all worn out.
Yeah, well, that figures. You've been doing a little thinking. The Lorena Hotel, 6 stories of plush carpet and gold paint. It was night when I got there and the neon was on. The buzzer brought the door open and Georgia Bascom stood there carrying an overcoat. She had her purse under her arm and it figured she was leaving. When she saw me, she turned on a surprised look.
Oh, Mr. Regan.
Moving out?
Just a little errand.
It'll keep. Shut the door.
Now, see here.
Shut up.
Well, that's a lot of nerve.
Don't let it bother you. There are bigger things.
Like what?
A fur job you and Louie are working on.
What are you talking about?
And a little murder. Throw your purse on the sofa.
I will not.
Come on, lady. It's getting heavy. Now open the closet door. Come on.
There. I hope you're satisfied.
I'm not much on fashions. Read them to me.
3 ermine, 3 sable.
10,000 apiece.
More.
Max Lopers.
Yeah.
Well, you can't wear them all. You got a friend?
I don't need one.
All right, sis. What is it?
Nothing.
That's your version.
You could be wrong.
When'd you marry Desmond?
Last week.
Bad answer. He's got a wife named Stella. Bigamy will get him in trouble.
Well, that's his problem.
No, it's yours, too, if the courts can prove you knew.
All right, I didn't marry him.
Then why the wedding ring?
Hey, you ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, I do.
Why don't you get out of here?
Louie's not new on fur jobs. He knows how much work it is to palm him off.
You're talking to yourself.
Loper never got to outlive a double cross.
What are you going to do with that?
Nothing. Homicide will work it out.
I didn't kill anybody.
You'll work up a sweat proving it.
Louis did it, honest. He killed my stepmother because she knew how the job worked. He gave it to Loper, too. He would...
Hiya, friends.
It must be raining. The worms are coming to the top.
Hello, Louis. Regan's got it figured. I was just stalling him till you got here.
Sure, Georgia. I know.
Honest, Louis, honest. I didn't mean to say you did the knockoffs.
We'll talk about it later.
You better finish it now. You're not going to be around.
We'll see.
They got a spot all staked out for you up north.
Isn't that interesting? Regan, I got a set of instructions for you. I want you to be real nice and follow them.
What's in it for me?
You kill me, Seamus. I'm holding all the cards. You want to rake in the pot.
I better get going, Louie. We shouldn't be seen together right now.
Slow down, baby. I got something for you, too.
But, Louie,
Big mouth.
Big
mouth.
Look, you didn't have to hit her more than once.
She got off easy. Everybody's got 32 teeth.
Desmond moved us out of the apartment and down the hall. Georgia was beginning to sob, but Desmond wasn't impressed. He held the gun under his coat and walked behind us careful, like an elephant on a crate of eggs. The button brought the elevator, and the three of us went in, and then it started down. When the door swung open on the first floor, a whiff of bourbon came floating in, packing a .32. Louis turned white.
Stella!
I told him if he kept messing around, he was going to have trouble at home.
You want to give me the gun?
No. What's your name, girlie?
Georgia.
Were you in love with Louis?
I don't know.
Well, go find out. You want it now, Regan? It's empty.
You know, lady, you fixed nothing.
What do you mean?
Where you're going, you'll all be together again. Well, it was all over fast, like a $1 dinner. The coroner's office sent out some boys for Georgia and Louis, and Sanducci picked up Stella. Desmond had himself a pretty good thing. Do a tie-in with a furrier and move the furs across the border with nobody making a fuss. Oh, it was slow work, but $10,000 a week's pretty good pay, and it was real safe. Loper wasn't going to say the furs were even stolen until they were turned into money. Of course, he never got to say it at all. Everything would have been all right if Stella didn't see green every time Louis saw blonde. Well, the insurance company thanked us for what we did to expose the fraud. The Lion was unhappy. He said they should have shown their gratitude with something more lasting. They gave it to him, a 1949 pocket calendar.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman, produced by Sterling Tracy. Included in tonight's cast were Mary Lansing, Marvin Miller, Pat McGeehan, Lorette Philbrandt, Jack Petruzzi, Yvonne Patey, and Sidney Miller. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
NBC presents The Adventures of Frank Merriwell. There it is, an echo of the past, an exciting past, a romantic past. The era of the horse and carriage, gaslit streets, and free-for-all football games. The era of one of the most beloved heroes in American fiction, Frank Merriwell, the famous character created by Bert L. Standish. Merriwell is loved as much today as ever he was, and so the National Broadcasting Company brings him to radio in a brand new series of stories. Today, The Riddle of the Wrong Answer, or Gambling is the Devil's Pastime. The Yale football team is returning to New Haven from its preseason training camp at Blue Lake. Spirits are high, and as the train rushes along...
Oh, listen to the boys sing, Frank. The team seems in awfully high spirits.
They are, Inza. We had a very successful training season this year, and now everybody's anxious to get back to New Haven for that opening game Saturday.
Is the Trinity team any good, Frank?
Yes, they have a good team this year, I understand, but I think we'll win.
Oh, of course you will.
But just a minute, young lady. I didn't invite you to ride back to New Haven with us so that we could talk about football. What about that review history exam tomorrow? You were supposed to help me prepare for it, remember?
Oh, I'm sorry, Frank. I got interested in the singing. Let's see, where were we?
You were asking me questions. What's the next one?
Well, let's see. Oh, There were 41 signers of the Mayflower Pact. Name as many as you can.
Oh, that's an easy one. Here they are.
Well, we might as well play another hand, Sloan. It doesn't look like Merriwell's going to leave his seat for a while.
What's he doing now, Cope? Can you see?
It looks like he's still talking to that girl back there at the end of the car. I don't like this idea anyway, Sloan. It's too uncertain.
Now, wait a minute, Cope. I'm running this, and I say we try it. If we can get him into a little game, let him drop a couple of hundred, get him to sign an IOU, well, there you are. We'll have the hold we want on him. I wish those guys would stop that singing.
And John Bradford. I think that's the lot, isn't it?
Oh, Frank, that was wonderful. You named all 41 of them without a mistake.
Well, I guess I'll pass the test, all right. Now I better take this book back to Jack Diamond. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Jack's up ahead in the next car.
Hey, Frank, come on and sing with us, Frank.
No, I've got something to do now. I'll see you later, fellas.
All right, let's start one, shall we, fellas?
Here comes Merriwell now, Sloan.
Oh, good. Now let me handle it. Oh, pardon me. Aren't you Frank Merriwell, Yale fullback?
Yes, sir, I am.
Glad to meet you, Merriwell. Seen you play off.
Thank you.
My name's George Sloan, book salesman. Do a lot of business with your school.
Say, Mr. Sloan, ask Merriwell if he'd like to sit in on our little game.
Yes, how about it, Merriwell? These gentlemen have just organized a friendly little game to pass the time.
Well, no, thank you. You know, they say that gambling is the devil's pastime. I don't indulge, gentlemen.
Oh, come now, Merriwell. Surely a little friendly game.
I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me, Mr. Sloan. I must see a friend up in the next car.
I told you Merriwell wouldn't fall for a simple trick like that, Sloan.
Yeah, it would have been easier that way. But we'll have to try something else.
Try it my way. He's sweet on that pretty girl back there, Insa Burge. You know my plan, and I can handle it.
New Haven. Here's the team, gang. Let's have a cheer for them. 1, 2.
Well, Enza, how do you like riding from the station on the team's carryall?
Oh, it's fun, Frank. But what'll people say when they see me up here?
Well, if you ask me, Enza, they'll say this is the best-looking team we've had in years.
Oh.
Well said, Bart.
Oh, look, we're coming to my uncle's house now.
I'll take your things in for you. Here, Enza, I'll help you down.
All right.
There you are.
Hurry up, Frank. We're all going over to Maury's as soon as we unload our
Oh,
baggage.
you go on with them, Frank. I'll wait here in the porch until my uncle comes.
You sure you won't mind, Enza?
Of course not. Go ahead with the team.
All right, I'll see you later.
Come on, Frank. Here, I'll give you a hand.
All right, goodbye, Enza.
Goodbye, Frank. Goodbye, boys. Oh, what a bunch. Oh, I hope my uncle gets here soon. Oh, this isn't my suitcase. It's Frank's. Frank, wait. Oh, dear, they can't hear me. Oh, well, he'll be back for it.
Miss Burge?
Oh, yes. What is it? My uncle isn't here.
I don't want to see your uncle. I want to talk to you.
I'm afraid I don't know you.
Of course you don't. But I happen to be a Yale fan, and I'm interested in the football team.
Oh, I can't help you. I have nothing to do with the football team.
No, but Frank Merriwell does. That's what I want to talk to you about.
If you have anything to say that concerns Mr. Merriwell, I think you'd better go to see him.
I'd rather talk to you about it.
Please, I must ask you to leave this porch.
Not until I've had my say.
Get off this porch or I'll call for help.
Oh, no, you won't.
Let go of my arm.
You keep quiet if you know what's good for you.
You're hurting me. Help!
Shut up.
Frank.
Bag by mistake, so I ran back. Hey, what's going on here?
Frank, this man...
Merriwell.
Catch him, Frank.
Oh, no, you don't.
Take it easy, Merriwell. Take it easy.
Speak up. What are you doing here?
Nothing. I wasn't going to hurt her.
Well, this is for bothering a lady. There. Now get up and get going. You show your face around here again, you'll get what's really coming to you.
All right, Merriwell, I'll go. But I won't forget this. I won't forget it.
Are you all right, Ensign?
Oh, yes, but... Frank, I don't understand. Who was that man?
I don't know, but I don't think we'll have any more trouble with him.
Oh, I hope not. I was really frightened.
It's a lucky thing Bart threw the wrong bag down. Well, now I'll stay right here with you until your uncle comes home.
All right.
I can meet the gang at Maury's later on.
Hey, Bart, here comes Frank now.
Oh, good, Pinky. Mac. Hey, Mac. Will you set another place at the table here for Frank Merriwell?
Yes, sir. Sure will, Mr. Bart.
Oh, hiya, Frank.
Hiya, Frank.
Did you get the bag straightened out?
Hello, everyone. Yes, Bart's all right now.
Welcome back to Maury's, Mr. Frank.
Oh, hello, Mac. It's good to be back again. Have I time to eat before that history exam, Bart?
Sure, Frank. Plenty of time. The exam's not until 3 o'clock.
Oh, we don't even have to watch the clock, fellas. We'll know it's time to hightail it when we see Andrews leave.
Andrews? Who's Andrews, Pinky?
Professor Stout's new secretary. He's sitting alone over there at that corner table. See him?
Oh, yes, I see him. He's not a Yale man, is he?
No, he isn't. Nobody needs to know where he's from.
Pardon me, Mr. Merriwell, but there's a gentleman over there at the next table who wants you to autograph this book for his son.
Why, certainly, Mac. Glad to.
He said the little boy is a great fan of yours, Mr. Merriwell. It would please him if you'd write something personal.
Go ahead, Frank. This looks like your one chance to get your name in the encyclopedia.
That's the book he gave me, Mr. Merriwell.
Don't mind Bart Hodge, Mac. He's trying to develop a sense of humor. There you are, Mac.
Thanks, Mr. Merriwell. The gentleman's little boy would be mighty pleased with this.
Well, boys, what shall we have tea?
Oh, whatever it is, we better eat it fast. We only have half an hour till the history exam, and there goes Andrews now.
Hello, Woods. Mind if I talk to you a minute?
You made a mistake. My name's Andrews.
So I've heard, but you don't mind an old friend calling you by your right name, do you, Woods?
All right, Sloan. What do you want?
A little service on account of that $5,000 gambling debt you tried to run out on.
I don't have the money, Sloan, and there's not much chance of my ever getting it with your hounding me out of one job after another.
Well, let that be a lesson to you. You can't beat an IOU just by running away and changing your name. Not with George Sloan, you can't.
Give me another chance. I'll pay the check.
How? On your salary as secretary to a college professor? That would take about 20 years, wouldn't it?
Well, it's the best I can offer.
No, it isn't. I'm going to give you a chance to write that debt off right now.
Now, listen here, Sloan. I can't afford to get mixed up in any of your shady deals.
You'll do what I tell you to. I'm dealing this hand.
What do you want?
Now, listen, Woods. I mean, Andrews. I know all about your setup here with Professor Stout, and it's made just to order. Couldn't be better if I'd planted you up here in Yale myself.
Get on with it, Sloan. Professor has a test at 3, and I have to be there.
I know all about that, too. Now, here's what I want you to do. As soon as that examination is over, the old professor will suddenly be called out of town. Now,
all right, gang, signal 21, 35, 28. Height, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's a nice run, Frank.
Well, thanks for that block, Bart. You really hit him. Okay, let's line up again.
How about trying that 45 play this time, Frank?
Okay, Bart. We'll certainly use that one Saturday, all right.
Oh, now what?
Merriwell.
I guess the coach wants you, Frank.
Merriwell, will you come over here a minute?
Right, Coach. Be right back, gang. What is it, Coach?
Frank, I have some news for you. Bad news, I'm afraid.
What's wrong?
It's about that history exam you took yesterday afternoon.
What's wrong? Did one of the team fail it?
Yes, Frank. You.
I failed? But, Coach, that's impossible. History is my best subject.
Well, maybe so, Frank. I happen to know myself you've always had an A in history, but here's the notice. You're on probation for a month.
But that means I'll miss the Trinity game.
And the 3 games that follow it, too.
Is something wrong, Frank? What is it, Coach?
Well, I've just been notified Merriwell's on probation. He failed yesterday's history exam.
Probation? You're joking, Coach.
It's no joke, Bart. I'm out of Saturday's game.
Well, what are we going to do?
I think we'd better go see Professor Stout, boys. You're sure you passed that examination, Frank?
I'm certain, Coach. Come on, we'll call on the professor now.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, but there's nothing I can do. All the test papers are locked in Professor Stout's safe.
When will the professor be back, Mr. Andrews?
Well, I can't say, Coach. He received a telegram saying his mother is ill. He left immediately.
But I'm certain there's some mistake. Maybe the professor got the marks mixed when he made out the list. If only I could see my paper.
I understand, Merriwell, but I have my instructions. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm due at the professor's next class.
Just one more thing, Mr. Andrews. Did you see my exam paper?
No. No, the professor read all the papers himself.
Well, Frank, I guess that's that.
It's too bad, Merriwell, but you know the rules and how strictly Professor Stout applies them.
Come on, Frank. We'll take this higher. We'll go to the dean.
Coach, it isn't within my authority to question the list of marks posted by Professor Stout.
But, Dean Clark, look at Merriwell's scholastic record. All A's in American history until this last test.
A failure is a failure, and I don't intend to create a precedent by interceding in Merriwell's behalf.
But the circumstances in this case...
Yale athletes have to pass their examinations before they may play football. That's the rule. Yale standards must be maintained, no matter what the cost.
In case Professor Stout gets back before Saturday, do I have your permission to request a review of Merriwell's exam paper?
Yes, that's quite permissible. But I'm afraid you should not count on the services of Mr. Merriwell. Work your team hard, Coach, and we'll try to beat Trinity without him.
Frankly, there's not much hope of that, but I'll do the best I can.
Gosh, Enza, all Frank has done tonight is idle away at the piano.
I know, Bart. I asked you both over here hoping that we could cheer him up.
No, this is no fun at all. Golly, I'd like to get to the bottom of this business.
Bart, I've been thinking maybe we can help. Suppose we went over to Professor Stout's office and tried to find out what questions Frank missed on the examination.
Tonight?
Why not? Mr. Andrews is usually there at this time, isn't he?
Well, yes, he is. But, well, he told us this afternoon there was nothing he could do.
Well, just the same, I'd like to talk to him myself. Will you come with me, Bart?
What about Frank?
Well, I think just now he'd rather be alone a little while. Besides, we won't be gone very long. What do you say?
All right, Enza. I'll do anything to help get Frank in Saturday's game. I guess he isn't in, Enza. Here, I'll try the door.
Oh, it isn't locked. Let's go inside and wait for him.
All right. Oh, I see he's left the gas light on, so he should be back any minute.
I hope he isn't too long. Oh, goodness, what's that?
Gosh, I don't know. Oh, yes, of course, it's the telephone.
Oh.
I remember during summer vacation they were installed in the office of all the faculty. Nothing but the best and most modern for Yale.
Oh, shouldn't we do something about it? We can't just let it ring.
I'll answer it. Let's see. This is the receiver. Yes? What is it?
Well done, Andrews. Everything went off without a hitch, didn't it? You can cancel that debt right now.
Oh, wait a minute. This isn't...
Well, what's this?
Oh, Mr. Andrews.
Someone's on the telephone, Mr. Andrews. I think they want you. We were just waiting here for you.
Here, give me that. Andrews speaking. Yes? Well, I'm glad you're satisfied. I will. Goodbye. Oh, excuse me for being so abrupt. The telephone excites me. I can't get used to it.
Well, that's all right, sir.
It wasn't important. Just one of those book salesmen. They're always bothering me.
Mr. Andrews, we came to see you, Mr. Hodge and I, about Frank Merriwell's examination.
Well, I'm afraid, miss, there's little I can do until Professor Stout returns.
Well, do you think there's a chance he'll get here before the game?
Well, I couldn't say, but I don't think Merriwell should count on it.
No, we're all counting on it, Mr. Andrews. We have no one to replace Frank at fullback.
I thought Bob Marlin was playing in Merriwell's place.
Oh, Bob's a wonderful end, but he's no fullback. He can't punt at all.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So you see, it means Yale will lose the opening game just because of a few questions Frank missed in American history.
Well, if he hadn't bungled that one about the Mayflower Pact, he might have pulled through. But Professor Stout couldn't conceive of anyone missing that.
The Mayflower Pact? What Frank knew...
But I think we'd better go. We don't want to take any more of Mr. Andrews' valuable time.
10 signers of the Mayflower Pact. Why, that's ridiculous, Bart. I can name all of them.
Of course you can, Frank. I heard you do it on the train.
Well, just the same, that's what Andrews said. He practically said you'd have passed it if you hadn't bungled that one question.
Bart, this thing doesn't add up.
How do you mean?
Well, when I asked Andrews about my paper, remember when we went to see him with the coach? He claimed to know nothing about it.
You're right, Frank. You're right.
Yes, and when Bart and I asked him, he told us you missed that easy question.
It sounds odd, all right. What do you make of it, Frank?
I'm beginning to think somebody switched papers on me. Substituted a failing paper for my passing one.
But, Frank, would that be possible?
Well, a lot of impossible things have been happening around here lately.
But how could anyone forge a paper and hand it in under your name?
That's what I've got to find out before Saturday's game.
Frank, do you actually believe anyone would go to such lengths to keep you out of Trinity's game?
Yes, I do. Remember the man on your porch the day we got back from Blue Lake?
You mean the man who threatened me? Oh, could he be behind all this?
He might be. I wish now I hadn't let him off so easily.
But, Frank, where would someone like that get a sample of your handwriting in order to forge your paper?
Oh, that wouldn't be hard. I've signed hundreds of autograph books. For instance, Bart, remember the man in Maury's, the one who asked me to sign an autograph for his little boy?
Oh, sure. The man with the encyclopedia.
Wait a minute. I just got an idea. There was a man on the train by the name of Sloan, George Sloan. Said he was a book salesman. Later that same day, a strange man offers me an encyclopedia to write my autograph. Then tonight, there was that business you just told me about in Andrew's office.
You mean the book salesman who called Andrews on the phone?
Of course, there must be some connection.
Bart, try to remember exactly what that man said on the telephone.
Well, let's see. It was something about everything went without a hitch. And then something about Andrews could cancel a debt. And that's about all.
And Andrews seemed upset when he came in and saw you talking?
Yes, he grabbed the receiver right out of my hand.
Frank, you don't think Andrews is mixed up in this, do you?
Well, they'd have to have someone on the inside to switch the papers. But wait, let's not go so fast.
What can we do, Frank?
Well, it's pretty late, Ensa. You'd better stay here at the house.
Hi.
But Bart and I are going out to find Mr. George Sloan tonight.
No, gentlemen, I don't believe we have a guest by the name of George Sloan. You might try one of the other hotels.
Thank you, we will.
George Sloan?
No, sir. I'm sorry.
Thanks. We'll try another place.
Why, you're Frank Merriwell, aren't you?
That's right.
And you say you're looking for a Mr. Sloan?
Yes.
Yes, I think we have someone by that name. Let me see.
Hey, maybe this is our man, Frank.
I hope so.
Oh, yes, here it is. George Sloan in room 14. He's a book salesman.
That's it. Thank you very much.
What are we going to say to him, Frank? We haven't any tangible evidence yet.
No, but I'm positive he's our man. Of course, we can't make any formal charges until Professor Stout gets back. But there are a couple of points I want cleared up.
Well, here's the top of the stairs. Which is his room?
There it is. Number 14.
Should we go right in?
No, we'll knock first. As far as Sloan knows, we don't suspect a thing.
He's not there. The room is dark. See the transom?
Well, let's try the door. No, it's locked.
Well, I guess it's no use. We might as well go.
No, wait. There might be something in that room that can help us.
We can't break the door down, can we?
We don't have to. I suppose it's not exactly legal, but how about that transom?
Of course. Come on. I'll boost you over and you can unlock the door. Here, step on my hand.
Right. Okay, let's go.
There you are. Can you make it, Frank?
I can just about squeeze through. There. Right, come on in, Bart.
It's pretty dark in here, Frank. You think we should risk a light?
Oh, why not? Here's a match. I'll see where the gas jet is.
Oh, there it is, on this wall.
Good. There. That's better.
Well, what are we looking for, Frank?
I'm not sure, but we'll start here at the desk. Hey, does this book look familiar, Bart?
Yeah, it's an encyclopedia, but I don't see... Hey, isn't that the...
That's right, Bart. It's the same book that autograph hunter in Maury's wanted me to sign. Look here. Inside the flyleaf. My name and the message I wrote.
That means it was Sloan who sent that man for your autograph.
Naturally.
Why, Frank?
I think it's pretty obvious. But we better not stand here talking. We'll turn out the light, lock the door, and get out of here. I don't want Sloan to know we've been here yet.
But what about the book?
We'll take it along. He'll miss it, of course, but he won't know where it's gone. Come on. Oh, clerk, Mr. Sloan wasn't in his room.
I know, Mr. Merriwell.
I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't mention our visit. We wanted to surprise Mr. Sloan.
But, Mr. Merriwell, I'm afraid I've already told him.
You did?
Well, Mr. Sloan came in while you were upstairs. I told him you were looking for him.
What did he do?
Well, it seemed rather odd. He looked surprised, and, well, I guess he was a little worried. Then he went right out again.
Oh, fine.
That means we must work fast.
Where are we going?
To get Andrews. And before Sloan does.
Oh, I hope he's still here, Frank. You try it again.
He's in. I can see the light under the door.
Yes? Who is it?
Frank Merriwell, Mr. Andrews. I want to talk to you.
Just a minute.
Hello, Andrews.
It's rather late for a social call, boys.
This isn't a social call, Andrews. We want to talk to you about a certain George Sloan.
I don't know what you mean. And I'm sure it can wait until morning.
I'm afraid not, Andrews. We want a confession from you.
Confession? I don't know what you're talking about.
You received a telephone call from George Sloan. And we have evidence to prove you're mixed up in a plot to keep me out of the Trinity game. Now, would you rather talk to us or to the police?
The police? Now, just a minute. I didn't do anything criminal.
You just what, Andrews?
Come on, talk fast.
Very well, then. I'll tell you. It's been preying on my mind long enough. I owed a gambling debt to George Sloan. He wanted access to those history exam papers. I had to arrange to let him see them before Professor Stout corrected them.
I thought so. Bart, go get the coach.
Okay.
We're going to have Mr. Andrews tell his story to the dean.
Well, gentlemen, from Mr. Andrews' story and the other evidence that we have at hand, it's fairly obvious that Mr. Merriwell has been the victim of a plot.
Then he's clear, sir? He can play in the game?
Well, I'm afraid it isn't as simple as that. Mr. Andrews was just an accomplice. Now, actually, he did nothing to the examination paper.
But, Dean Clark, I told you what happened. This book proves Sloan wanted my handwriting so that he could forge a failing exam paper. Professor Stout was sent out of town by a ruse so that I can't have a new examination. And Andrews here can testify that the papers were tampered with.
I know all that, my boy, but there's nothing I can do about it until Professor Stout returns. I've already sent him a wire, and he should be back by Saturday.
In time for the game?
Well, I don't know. I hope so. I've done all I could.
Then, sir, if Professor Stout does get here in time, will I be able to play?
That will depend upon the professor. As you know, he's not, athletically minded. But perhaps if you could produce George Sloan, well, who knows?
Well, it looks to me like we're licked. Even if Stout does get back, how are we going to find Sloan? He skipped out of his hotel.
Yes, Coach. I guess there's small chance of finding him before the game tomorrow. All we can do is hope for the best.
Well, Frank, the third quarter's just about over. Doesn't look so good, does it?
They're only leading 2-0, Coach. If Bart could just get loose for one good run.
Oh, they've got him pretty well bottled up. Oh, I wish you could get in there, Frank.
I know. I wish Coach.
What's wrong, Frank? What do you see?
Coach, this is important. Is it all right if I leave the bench for a little while?
Well, sure, go ahead. You can't help much here anyhow.
I'll be back as soon as I can.
I saw you wait for me to come down here, Frank. What is it?
I just saw Sloan in the stands. He's watching the game. Might have known he would with all that money at stake.
Oh, but what good can that do now?
Might do a lot of good, Enza. Part of it depends on you.
On me?
Yes. Now, here's what I want you to do.
Well, Sloan, it looks like we're in. They can't do a thing without Merriwell.
Yes, but that was a bad moment last night when I found Merriwell searching my room.
What do we care as long as Yale loses? Say, look, isn't that Merriwell's girl coming this way?
Yeah, that's right. She might recognize you. Keep your head down, Cope.
Pardon me, are you Mr. Sloan?
That's right. What can I do for you?
I'm Inza Burridge. An acquaintance of mine, Mr. Andrews, asked me to give you a message.
Andrews, huh? What is it?
He wants to see you. He said it was something about the game.
Where is he?
Down at the entrance of the Yale dressing room. He's waiting for you there.
I see. About the game, you said. Mm-hmm. All right. I suppose I'd better talk to him.
Can I win a game now, Coach?
In another minute or two, Pinky. The fourth quarter just started.
Where did Frank Merriwell go? I saw him leaving the field.
Oh, I don't know. He didn't say.
Hey, watch those end runs. Oh, look at that fullback.
Hey, Coach, look. Here comes the dean with Professor Stout.
Where? Oh, they're coming over here.
Coach, here's Professor Stout. You said you wanted to see him the instant of your eye.
Good day, gentlemen. I'm sorry to interrupt your baseball match.
Football, Professor Stout. This is the football coach.
Football, yes, to be sure. But what is all this nonsense about Merriwell's examination?
I explained the circumstances to Professor Stout, Coach, but there seems to be little that he can do.
But you know what a good student the boy is, Professor.
Yes, to be sure. But there's nothing I can do unless I have some proof that the wrong examination paper fell into my hands.
Well, there's not much use worrying about it now. The game is practically lost anyhow. Well, that reminds me. Pinky.
Yes, Coach?
Get in there for a diamond.
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess it didn't work. He should have been down here by now.
Wait.
Here he is. Hello, Sloan.
Why,
looking for someone?
Merriwell. What are you doing here?
Looking for you, Sloan. I want you to make a little confession.
Stand back, Merriwell. Don't come any closer.
Oh, so you've got a gun. Well, maybe you aren't expecting a tackle. All right, Sloan, now you're going to talk.
Don't you break my arm.
Talk, Sloan, talk.
All right, I'll talk, only don't break my arm.
And you'll do your talking right over there at the bench. Come on.
And so, Mr. Sloan, you admit forging this boy's paper and substituting it in the examination.
Yes, I did it.
There you are, Professor. Now can Merriwell play?
Well, this is all highly irregular.
Get your helmet on, Frank.
Yes.
But first he must pass the examination, you know.
Oh, no, there's no time for that. The game's nearly over.
Nevertheless, I must give an oral examination. It's the only proper way to handle it.
I'm ready, sir.
Oh, hurry. Charles, go in formation. Call timeout. Never mind the penalty.
I shall ask you 3 questions, very well.
Shoot, sir.
Shoot.
I mean, go ahead, Professor.
1, who was Jonathan Edwards?
A famous Yale alumnus, theologian and lecturer, born 1703, died 1758.
2, what date did Massachusetts enter the Union?
1788, one of the 13 original colonies.
3, what does the term fundamental orders have to do with the history of New England?
The first written constitution adopted by self-governing people, date 1639.
Oh, does he pass, Professor? Can he play?
Yes, I'm quite satisfied. Get in there, Mr. Merriwell, and make a home run for Yale.
Oh, you heard him, Frank. Time! Substitution! There we go.
What is happening, Coach? Is Merriwell winning?
Well, he hasn't started yet. They're lining up now. Just time for one play. Oh, make it good, Frank. There goes the ball.
Where?
Merriwell's got it. He's trying left hand. Run, Frank, run! Oh, look, Professor, he's clear.
Clear?
Nice block fight. You see that man get down? Oh, look out for this safety man, Frankie. He's going to make it. He's going to make it. He made it. Touchdown. Yale wins.
Well, but what happened?
The game's over, and Yale wins.
Oh, Frank, that was the most wonderful game I ever saw in my life. I've never been so excited. Oh, and you should have seen Professor Stout jumping up and down there on the sideline.
The professor showed his true colors today, all right, Enza. He's a true blue Yale man.
And so are you, Frank. It's lucky you tumbled to that gambler scheme in time, or we'd have lost.
You know, Yale really scored 2 victories today.
2?
Yes. We won from Trinity, and we made a football fan of Professor Stout, even though he still thinks it was a baseball game.
Exciting adventure with Frank Merriwell, beloved hero of American fiction, brought to you in a new series of dramatic stories by the National Broadcasting Company. Stand by until next week at the same time when Frank Merriwell returns in another of his celebrated exploits. Frank Merriwell is played by Lawson Zerbe. Today's script was by Ruth and Gilbert Braun and William Welch. Music was by John Winters, and the program was produced and directed by Joe Mansfield. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Feel for a beautiful smile, the life of Riley for laughs. Teal, T-E-E-L, Teal, the amazing liquid dentifrice. That's it, T-E-E-L. Teal, the amazing liquid dentifrice, brings you the life of Riley with William Bendix as Riley. Remember, friends, for beautiful smiles, it's T-E-E-L, Teal, and just for laughs, it's R-I-L-E-Y, Riley, in the life of Riley. Well, it seems the newest interest in the life of Chester A. Riley is a stray dog that our hero brought home with him. Right now, Riley and his 4-legged friend are having a cozy chat in the dining room of the Riley's California bungalow.
That a boy, pal. Come on, boy. Take it easy, pal.
That's a good boy. Are you enjoying your dinner, pal? That's a good boy, pal. Oh, wait a minute, pal. That there lamb chop bone is empty. Here's a fresh empty bone.
Oh, Pop. Don't let Mom catch you feeding that dog at the table.
Oh, watching you eat, Pup, gives me an appetite. Here, wash the chop down with some of this noodle soup. That's a good boy. Go ahead.
Noodle soup, Daddy. Why don't you feed him dog biscuits?
Babs, how can you say that? What do you think this dog is, an animal?
Oh, Riley, if you finish your lamb chops, I'll serve the... Riley, you gave him to the dog. Oh.
Oh, well, I couldn't help it, Dumpling. There he was, licking his chops, watching me licking my chops.
Well, he is a sweet dog, Riley. But must he make his home on our living room couch? Yes, Daddy, he's full of fleas.
He's loaded with them, Pop.
Well, all right. Suppose he has one or two fleas. There's a terrible housing shortage, and even a flea has to have a place to live.
I don't think that's very funny. Anyway, that dog can't stay on the couch because we'll need it for Sidney Monahan.
Sidney Monahan?
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Sidney phoned this afternoon. He just got into town.
What does that four-flusher want here?
Well, he sells insurance now, and he's in town for a day, and he can't get a hotel room, so naturally I told him if he doesn't get a place by tonight, he can stay here.
Naturally? What's so natural about it? Just because he was your boyfriend before I married you?
Well, he's your friend, too.
Well, that was a different kind of friendship. I never went dancing with him, and he never tried to kiss me.
Oh, but, Daddy, we have to be hospitable. Sidney's only going to be an overnight guest.
Yeah, I know that, Leach. He'll start out as an overnight guest and wind up as a deduction on my income tax. Besides, I don't like the way he's always telling your mother she's beautiful and calling her Peggy Pie.
Why, Riley, you're still jealous of Sidney.
I am not jealous.
Oh, yes, you are, Pop.
Why should I be jealous? Has he got more money than I have? Is he better looking than I am? Has he got more brains than I have? All right, so I'm jealous. That's him. That's that Monahan. Come in, Monahan.
Well. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Monahan.
Knew it was me, eh, Riley? Recognized the old Monahan door knock.
Yeah, I recognize it. Are you still doing it with your head?
Same old Riley. Same old obnoxious personality.
Save it, Monahan. You can't win me with flattery.
Ah, Peggy Pie. Do you mind my telling you you're just as beautiful as ever?
Yeah, you bet I do.
Well, Riley, didn't ask you. Go on, Sidney. What were you saying?
Peggy Pie, if I didn't know you, I'd take you for Bab's sister.
Oh.
And Riley, if I didn't know you, I'd take you for Peg's father.
I know just how you feel, pal. Too bad you ain't got no teeth. But one more crack like that, you have my permission to gum him.
Behave yourself.
Say, Riley, what kind of a dog is that?
Well, Pop says he's 1/2 terrier, 1/2 Airedale, 1/4 collie, and 1/8 spaniel.
Yeah, and from there on, he runs down into 16th.
Well, if he was mine, I'd do something about his fleas.
Well, we've been trying to get Daddy to get rid of the fleas.
Oh, yes, we keep telling him.
All right, so he's got fleas. But in this life, everybody's got to have something to annoy him. He's got fleas, and I've got Monahan.
Well, that was a fine dinner, Riley. You've got a wonderful little woman there. You know, a girl like Peg deserves the best.
Yeah, you're right, Monahan. But she's satisfied with me.
Riley, did you ever stop to think what would happen to Peg and the children if anything should, happen to you?
Now, wait a minute, Monahan. You ain't selling me no insurance.
Okay. Frankly, I wouldn't dream of selling you insurance.
Why not? What's the matter with me? Ain't I a good prospect?
Oh, yes, you certainly are. A man with your responsibilities should carry at least...
You're wasting your time, Monahan. I'm loaded with insurance.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, exactly how much are you covered for?
Plenty. If I went today, Peg would have 400 smackers. Cold cash.
400?
Yes.
Why, a decent funeral would cost at least 600.
600? That's fantastic. If Peg spends that much money, she'll hear from me. Anyway, I ain't worried. I lived all my life so far without dying, and I ain't starting now.
Just the same, Riley. Do you realize that you're risking disaster every time you cross the street?
Well, sure, but I don't expect to live in Los Angeles all my life. Anyway, my case is different. Peg would be such a young and beautiful widow. She's a cinch to marry again.
Granted, but she'd still be a widow with 2 children. You know single men, they hesitate getting involved. Unless, of course, the widow has a little something laid aside.
You know, Monahan, I never thought of that. But you're right. Say, how much do you think her second husband would want?
Well, you ought to carry at least $2,500.
And that would satisfy him, huh? It ought to. It's more than I got when I married her. But I'm a sport. Let him have the $2,500.
Fine, Riley, fine. I've got the perfect policy for you right here. Now, if you'll just sign it and hand over the $50...
Quick, give me that pen, Monahan. I'm signing this before you try to back out. Now, there, I signed it. Boy, all my worries are over now.
And get this right. In case you meet with a fatal accident, the company pays the widow double, $5,000. Isn't that good?
For just a fatal accident?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's wonderful. The second husband will kiss me for that.
Oh, another thing. In case your accident is not fatal, you still collect. Of course, not as much as if it were fatal.
Well, that don't worry me. If I ever have an accident, it'll be fatal. I'm lucky that way.
Mr. Riley.
Well, if it ain't Waldo Binney. How's my little friend and neighbor, eh?
Oh, my aching back.
Why, what's the matter, Waldo? Did your wife hit you with a hockey stick again?
Oh, no, she used a bat. It's the baseball season, you know.
Poor Waldo. Waldo, how long have you been married to your wife?
Well, I'm 45. I was married at 30. Oh, I should say about 200 years.
Oh, I'm a lucky husband, Waldo. I got a wonderful wife. Why, only today I took out a life insurance policy for her sake.
She ought to be very thankful.
Well, Sidney Monahan's the one she really ought to thank. He sold me the policy.
Sidney Monahan?
Yeah.
Your wife's old boyfriend?
Yeah. Swell guy, Sidney. And between you and me, I think he's still a little crazy about Peg.
Mr. Riley, is there a clause in the policy that says the company pays twice as much if you have a fatal accident?
Yeah. Yeah, how did you guess? Good old Sidney, he insisted on my having that.
He insisted, did he?
Yeah.
Mr. Riley, did you ever see a movie called Double Indemnity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a swell picture. Well, wasn't that great where the insurance agent, Fred McMurray, and Barbara Stanwyck murder her husband and make it look like an accident, and then they collect the... Waldo, you don't mean my Peg would... No, not my Peg. She wouldn't.
Oh, of course not. She's completely innocent. But I'm sure that Monahan wouldn't mind marrying your widow if she had $5,000.
Yeah, that's what Monahan said the second husband would want. But Waldo, this is murder. Are you sure?
Well, I can't be 100% sure. But if I were you, I'd rather be me.
No, Waldo, you're making a big mistake. Monahan could never take my place with Peg. He ain't got no culture. He don't talk no good English. And he ain't got my loveliness.
But, Mr. Riley...
And in the second place, there's my kids. They never accept him for a father.
Why don't they like him?
No, he don't know how to handle children, but I do. I got a real childish mind. Now, Waldo, now, you're all wrong. After all, let's be fair to Monahan.
All right, let's be fair. Let's assume that Monahan is absolutely innocent.
Right.
Until we prove that he murdered you.
Right. Nothing could be fairer than that.
Now, Peggy Pie, you're sure Riley won't mind my wearing this new suit of his?
Why, of course not, Sidney. And you know it fits you perfect.
Well, my suit won't be back from the cleaners till Monday, and I do want to make a good impression on that prospect I'm seeing tonight. Lots of money in it for me.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, Dumpling.
Oh, there's Riley now.
Come on, Peg.
Hello, dear.
Hi, Riley.
Say, where'd you get the new... Hey, ain't that my suit?
Well, yes, dear. Sidney's is at the tailor, so I knew you wouldn't mind if he wore yours for tonight.
Yeah, thanks a million, Riley. Beautiful suit. Wish I had one like it.
Well, why don't you try buying one, Monahan? Only $26.50.
Hey, that's cheap. I'll go out tomorrow and pick a... No, I think I'll wait a little while.
Wait? Because they'll never be cheaper than they are now.
Yeah, I know.
Well, then what are you waiting for?
Well, I'm a little short on cash now, but I expect to get hold of some money real soon.
You do, huh?
Yes, sir. If things work out, little Sidney's going to make a killing.
But Sidney...
Isn't that nice, Riley? Well, you might wish Sidney luck.
Yeah, good luck, Sidney, to kill him.
Well, thanks, Riley. Say, I can't get over how nice your suit fits me. Why, I bet I could wear all your clothes.
Well, I ain't betting.
Hello, Mother. Hello, dear. Say, Daddy, I need some money.
Babs, that's Monahan you're talking to. I'm over here.
Oh, well, in that suit, I thought it was you.
Well, that's the first time an old bachelor like me was ever called Daddy. And you know, I like it. Say it again, Babs.
Oh, I need some money, Daddy.
Sure thing, daughter. Here's $1 from your daddy.
Oh, well, gee, thanks, Mr. Monahan. Say, you wouldn't make such a bad father after all.
Babs, give Monahan back that $1. If you want $1, ask your present father.
All right, Daddy.
Here's a quarter.
Well, come on, everybody. Supper's ready. Come on, sit down, everybody.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, Riley, will you please...
Wait a minute. Monahan, why are you sitting at the head of the table?
Oh, I'm sorry, Riley. I just slipped into your place by accident.
Accident? Well, that better be the last accident that happens in this house.
Riley, don't get so excited.
I'm not excited, but get this straight, Monahan. I don't mind you wearing my clothes and moving in on us and eating here free. But if you ever sit at the head of this table, it'll be over my dead body.
Neil has just brought you the first act of The Life of Riley, and we'll return to Riley in just a moment. Meanwhile, this is Ken Carpenter. You know that only Teal, of all the leading dentifrices, protects your teeth from ugly gum-line cavities? Well, here's why. Out of every 10 adults, 8 have receding gums. And when gums recede, parts of your teeth are exposed which are 25 times softer than tooth enamel. Now, those softer parts are easily damaged by the daily use of toothpaste or powder containing harsh abrasives. So the chances are 8 in 10 you are risking those ground-in cavities daily, unless the dentifrice you use contains no such abrasives. Only Teal, the modern liquid dentifrice, cleans teeth without abrasives, cleans with a patented ingredient, protects teeth from gum-line cavities as no other leading dentifrice can. The Teal way takes 1 extra minute a week to make teeth look their best safely. Just follow directions on the package. Remember, large family-size Teal saves money. T-E-E-L, Teal, the tangy, refreshing liquid dentifrice. And now back to The Life of Riley with William Bendix as Riley. Well, Chester A. Riley has the mistaken idea he's going to be murdered. It all began when Sidney Monahan, an old flame of Mrs. Riley, sold Riley a life insurance policy with a double indemnity clause. Now, poor Riley suspects that Monahan is planning to do away with him and then try to marry his widow for the insurance money. Right now, we find Sidney plotting murder, but not Riley's, of course.
But, Peggy Pie, I'm telling you, you're wasting your time with that insect spray. There's only one thing that'll get rid of that dog's fleas. Chloroform.
Chloroform, Sidney?
Mm-hmm. Just dab some on this pup's coat, and those fleas will disappear. Perfectly harmless.
Well, I'll try anything, but where can I get the chloroform?
Oh, I'll take care of that. I'll get some.
Oh, all right, Sidney. But for heaven's sake, let's keep this a secret. Riley'd be furious if anybody touched his precious dog.
Is the coat clear, Riley?
Yeah, the house is empty, Waldo.
Good. Now we can search his room and get some evidence against that vicious monster.
Waldo, I think we're wrong. This guy Monahan's really a sweet monster. Deep down, he's the kind of fellow that wouldn't harm a flea.
Mr. Riley, you can't afford to take chances. Look, isn't that Monahan's briefcase there?
Yeah.
Let's search it for the weapon.
Waldo, we can't open that. If Monahan found out, he wouldn't like it.
Mr. Riley, this man plans to murder you.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to create any bad feeling between us. Look, Waldo, I tell you, you got Monahan wrong. He's really crazy about me.
Well, nothing much in his briefcase. Just some papers. Some pipe cleaners. Box of aspirin. Bottle of chloroform. A box of pencils.
You see, I told you he wouldn't find any... chloroform.
Chloroform. That's what he's going to use.
Chloroform. No, he mustn't. I can't stand the smell of chloroform.
It's an old method. He chloroforms you, throws you on the railroad tracks to make it look like an accident, then tries to marry your beneficiary.
No, Monahan wouldn't do that.
Why not? Fred McMurray did it.
Waldo, protect me.
Mr. Riley, your hours are numbered.
Yeah. Oh, why wasn't I smart? Why didn't I take out a policy where if I get murdered, I'm the beneficiary?
Who there, Riley? Wait for me.
Who's that?
It is I, Digby Odell, the friendly undertaker.
Oh, it's you, Digger. That's all I need now.
Greetings, Riley. You're looking fine. Very natural.
Digger, what are you doing around here?
Oh, I've just come from a meeting of my club, the UPUS.
UPUS?
Yes, the Undertakers and Pallbearers Uplift Society. A fine organization. Our motto is work, don't shirk. That's why whenever I see a man lying down, I go right after him.
Digger, I'm in terrible trouble. Did you ever feel as if the ground was slipping out from under you?
No, but I've seen dozens of similar cases. What's distressing you, Riley?
Well, there's a guy, Sidney Monahan, and he likes my wife.
I know how you feel. When I first started in my profession, the driver of my business vehicle made goo-goo eyes at my wife.
Huh? What happened?
Oh, I scared the life out of him. I said, see here, you cad. If you don't cease making eyes at my wife, you'll stop being the driver of my vehicle and become its passenger.
Well, my case is worse, Digger. This guy Monahan saw a movie once, and it gave him an idea, see?
Yes, movies are very stimulating. I go to them regularly. Ah, the cinema. Boris Karloff strangling Peter Lorre. Boris Karloff carving Bela Lugosi. Boris Karloff torturing Sidney Greenstreet. I adore Boris. It's okay.
Tigger, this Monahan wants to murder me and try and marry Peg for my insurance. I hope she turns him down. Boy, will I laugh.
Murder? Oh, no, Riley.
He's going to chloroform me, and then he'll pick me up and throw me on a railroad track.
Nonsense, Riley. You're too heavy. From years of experience, I'd say that it would take at least 6 men to carry you.
But Digger, I saw the chloroform, I tell you.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, then you must act, Riley. Confront this fiend and expose him to the world.
You're right. That's what I'll do. My head's made up. Will you come with me, Digger?
Certainly, Riley. I'm the last man to ever let a friend down. Let's jump along.
Come on in, Digger. There's a light in the kitchen. I'm going in there and face him with my face.
Good. That should frighten him.
Come on.
Well, here it is.
Shh, that's Monahan.
Yes, sir, Peggy. Enough chloroform in this bottle to kill a million.
Digger, you hear? Chloroform. I told you he would... Wait a minute. Who's he talking to? He can't be talking to... No, it can't be.
Do you think we ought to do it tonight, Sidney?
It is. Oh, Peg.
Oh, why wait? It's got to be done sometime.
Digger, my Peg, he's talked her into it.
Oh, Riley, it's a good thing I came along. I think you're going to need me.
Sidney, you don't think Riley suspects what we're up to?
Nah, he never knows what's going on. We could hit him over the head with a lead pipe and he wouldn't know what had happened.
No, use the chloroform.
Well, all right, let's get it over with.
Okay, but it'll be easier if we wait until the dog's asleep.
Calling me a dog. That's going too far.
Oh, Riley, you heard us.
Peg, tell me it ain't true. The chloroform, you weren't going to use it?
Well, I might as well confess. Yes, I was, Riley.
No, Monahan put you up to this.
Now, don't blame Sidney. It was all my idea.
Now, look, Riley, I was just trying to do Peg a favor.
I know why you were doing it. Give me back that check.
What check?
The check I gave him for the insurance. Give it to me.
But, Riley...
Give me that check.
All right. Here it is.
There. See? I'm tearing it up in 1,000 pieces. There.
Riley, have you gone crazy?
Murder me for my money, will you? Chloroform me, huh?
Chloroform you? Oh, Riley, listen, be sensible.
I'm through being sensible. Monahan, I'm going to give you the beating of my life. Take that! Oh, my wrist. I broke my wrist. He's got a cast iron head.
Riley, you hit the doorknob.
Oh, my wrist. I'll get you yet, you murderer.
Oh, no one's trying to murder you, Riley. We got the chloroform just to get rid of the fleas.
I resent that. You know very well I ain't got no fleas.
The dog's fleas.
The dog... Pal? You mean... Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Didn't Sidney buy the chloroform to murder me?
Of course not.
What a revolting development this is.
Oh, Riley. How could you suspect for even 1 second that I...
Don't yell at me, Dumpling. Not now. My wrist is killing me. It must be broken. Well, I got one consolation. I'm insured against accidents.
Oh, no, you're not, Riley. You just tore up that check for the premium, which automatically cancels the policy.
You mean that I don't get paid for this broken wrist?
Mm-hmm. Not a cent.
This development is even more revolting than the other revolting development.
We'll be back in half a minute. Why risk cavities at the gum line? Cavities ground in by the daily use of toothpastes or powders containing harsh abrasives. Teal cleans teeth without abrasives, protects teeth from such cavities. Enjoy Teal tonight. T-E-E-L, Teal, the refreshing liquid dentifrice.
Dumplin', please forgive me, will you?
Well, I really shouldn't.
Oh, you ought to be ashamed, Riley.
Yeah, I know. But deep down inside of me, I didn't believe it. I apologize to you and Sidney.
Well, all right, dear. I accept your apology.
Oh, thanks, Dumplin'. I could kiss you.
And Riley, I accept your apology, too.
Oh, Monahan, I could, let's you and me just shake hands, huh?
Procter & Gamble, makers of Teal, the amazing liquid dentifrice, invites you to be their guests next week to hear The Life of Riley with William Bendix as Riley. William Bendix appears by arrangement with Hal Roach. The Life of Riley is produced for Teal by Irving Brecker and is directed by Don Bernard. Music by Lou Karslow. The script by Ashmead Scott, Alan Lipscott, and Reuben Schiff. Mrs. Riley is Paula Winslow. Junior is Scotty Beckett. Babs is Sharon Douglas. Digger Odell is John Brown. Waldo Binney is Dink Trout. And Sidney Monahan is Lou Merrill. This is Ken Carpenter on behalf of Teal, inviting you to listen again next week. And remember, for laughs, it's R-I-L-E-Y, Riley. And for lovely smiles, it's T-E-E-L, Teal. Teal, the amazing liquid dentifrice, protects teeth beautifully.
It's a washing miracle for silk, nylon, woolen, dishes.
What are you talking about?
Dreft. I'll spell it. D-R-E-F-T, Dreft. Yes, ladies, and Dreft spells faster, brighter, safer cleaning than any suds before in history.
That's true. Take lingerie, for example. Why, Draft keeps my dainty underthings fresher and brighter than even expensive soap flakes.
Right. You see, Dreft is different from soap. Dreft's rich suds rinse clean and clear. They simply can't leave any sticky deposit the way all soaps do. No wonder Dreft keeps lingerie, stockings, new woolens prettier and brighter far longer than any soap could ever do. With Dreft, there's no soap fading.
Yes, and for washing dishes, Dreft is just unbelievable. Why, Dreft makes my dishes shine even without wiping. Every woman knows how dishes washed with soap dry with a greasy film unless you polish them. Well, my Dreft wash dishes drain dry, bright and sparkling. Even glasses sparkle without touching a towel to them.
Yes, ladies. Decide now to open up this bright new world of beauty for all your nice things. For your fine washables, for your dishes. So get Dreft in the bright green package. Dreft, Procter & Gamble's amazing suds discovery that gives you faster, brighter, safer cleaning than any suds before in history. That's D-R-E-F-T, Dreft. Next time you shop, get Dreft.
Remember, for laughs, it's The Life of Riley every week at this same time. Good night.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
You know, everybody's working at top speed these days. The times demand the best we've got. And the best, when it comes to coffee, is measured in terms of flavor. The demands we place upon coffee today are greater than ever before. Every cup must measure up. Every sip must hit the spot. Now, not only to fill its all-important place as part of a good meal, but for the boost fine coffee gives, the lift to help you get things done. And besides that, since the shortage makes rationing necessary, each cup should make up in excellence for the cups we don't get in between. Now, to fill the bill and more than fill it, get Chase & Sanborn coffee. You'll marvel that a single cup can hold so much delicious flavor. The secret is that Chase & Sanborn is more than one coffee. It's the finer ones blended. And today, our experts are turning out the richest, most satisfying, most flavorful blend of our entire history. You want all the flavor you can get, so get all the flavor you can. Every time you part with a precious ration coupon, ask for Chase & Sanborn. Naturally, nowadays, with so many others buying Chase and Sanborn, too, your grocer may sometimes run out. If he should, please understand and cooperate. And the next time, be sure to ask again for Chase and Sanborn coffee.
The Columbia Network takes pleasure in bringing you Suspense. Suspense, a new series of programs with one strict purpose in view, your entertainment. Each week at this time, CBS sets aside 30 minutes to excite you, to mystify you, and on occasion to horrify you with a catalog of the world's great thrillers. Dramas from the stage and screen, from fiction and radio. Dramas that bring you suspense. This, the second offering of a new series, is a unique one. Certainly, it is one of the very few pieces of suspense literature that somehow manages to tickle your funny bone while busily engaged in tingling your spine. Make no mistake, though, nobody's kidding. CBS presents its adaptation of John Collier's well-known short story, Wet Saturday.
Yes, it's a wet Saturday. Never saw it rain harder. I'm Princey, Frederick Princey, just an ordinary family man. I have a son, a daughter, and a wife. I might be out golfing now if it hadn't been for the rain.
I'm Mrs. Princey. I plan to drive over to the nurseries this afternoon for some arbutus. The borders, you know, but...
Oh, the whole lot of them make me sick. Yes, I'm George, son and heir. I had a date to go punting. Couldn't find the blasted punt in this weather, so I'm home, too.
I'm Millicent. I was going to play croquet. That's how I happened to have a mallet.
Yes, that's the Princey family. We find them at home. Mrs. Princey, Millicent, George sprawled on a couch, Mr. Princey biting on a dry pipe. Their living room is dull and overstuffed. Rain beats at the windows. They are any middle-class family at home on a wet day, except for one small item. As you sit with them in the living room, you can see through the door to the sun porch a pair of men's feet, encased in black boots. They look like the feet of a curate. There's a tenseness in the room. The air is charged with excitement, but the feet are very still.
Don't keep staring at them. Listen to me, all of you. Don't you see? They'd hang her. That's what they do. They'd hang her.
Oh, Fred, it's too awful.
Awful? It's catastrophic. A supposedly sweet, gentle, intelligent girl, respected, loved by the whole village, doing a thing like this. Think of the publicity, the disgrace. You think I'm going to resign from the bench, the vestry, sell out and live in some foggy hotel abroad? Oh, no.
No, I'll kill myself. I will.
Don't be a fool.
Any more than you have been, the governor means.
Be quiet. Wouldn't be so bad if it were you. Everybody in the village knows you're not responsible. George.
Yes?
Get off that couch. Sit up on your spine. You might be of a little use here if you could think.
Listen, Governor, this isn't my funeral.
Oh, shut up. As long as I can remember, George, you've been a trial and a tribulation to me.
Oh, I can't stand it.
You've got to stand it, my dear. And keep that hysterical note out of your voice. You hear?
Yes.
We are talking about the weather. Now, George.
Yeah?
George, if he fell down the old well, say, striking his head several times, what about it, eh?
I really don't know, Governor. What about it?
Don't be an ass. I'm asking you to think. he'd have had to hit the sides several times in 30 or 40 feet and at all the correct angles. No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. We'll have to go over it all again, Millicent.
Oh, no, Father. No. I couldn't.
Millicent, we must go over it all again.
Oh, Fred, you're torturing her.
Oh, face facts, Mater. With him lying there, there's no use pretending it's a picnic.
They might hang you, Millicent. Oh, stop that shaking. Stop it here. You must stop it. You must keep your voice quiet. Millicent, we are talking of the weather. Now, we will proceed.
I can't. Not with those boots.
Oh, should have thought of those boots, Millie. I'm not moving them.
Oh, sit up, George. Stop shuffling your feet. Now, Millicent, look at me. Answer me truthfully, you hear? Answer me. You were in the croquet courts.
Yes.
Who knew you were in love with this wretched curate?
Oh, the whole village. They've been sniggering about it at the pub for 3 years past.
What a filthy mess. Millicent, we continue. You were on the croquet court.
Yes.
You were putting the croquet set into its box?
Yes. It was starting to rain. I was carrying the balls and mallets into the sun porch. The box was there.
You heard someone enter the garden gate and come across the yard?
Yes.
Could you see who it was?
Oh, not at first. I was going into the sun porch. I threw down all the mallets but the red one and turned around.
It was Withers?
Yes.
So you called him? Yes. Loudly? Did you call him loudly? Could anyone have heard?
No, Father, I'm sure not. I didn't really call him. I just spoke his name. He saw me as I went to the door. He just waved his hand and came over.
How can I find out from you whether there was anyone about? Whether he could have been seen?
I'm sure not, Father. I'm quite sure.
So, you both went into the sun porch?
Yes. It was raining hard then.
What did he say?
He said, "Hello, Millie," and excuse his coming in the back way, but he set out to walk over to Liston.
Yes?
And he said, passing the park, he'd seen the house and suddenly thought of me. And he thought he'd just look in for a moment. He had something to tell me.
Go on.
He said he was so happy. He wanted me to share it. He'd heard from the bishop he was to have a vicarage. And it wasn't only that. It meant he could marry. Then he began to stutter, get all confused. And of course, I thought he meant me.
Don't tell me what you thought. Tell me exactly what he said, nothing else.
Well... Oh, dear.
Oh, stop crying. It's a luxury you can no longer afford. Tell me what happened.
He said, no. He said it wasn't me. It's Ella Bragdon Davis. And he was sorry and all that. Then he went to go.
And then?
I went mad. He turned his back. I had the red mallet of the croquet set in my hand. I forgot to drop it in the box when he came.
Did you shout or scream? I mean, as you hit him?
No, I'm sure I didn't.
Did he? Come on, speak up.
No, Father.
And then?
I threw it down. I came straight in here. I went to look for Mother. That's all.
My poor baby.
No one.
Leave the child alone, Fred.
Not such a child, Mater. Millie, I had no idea
Keep quiet. I'm thinking. You see, George, He probably told people he was going to Liston. Certainly no one knows he came here, for he didn't decide until he crossed the park. He might have been attacked in the woods. We must consider every detail. A curate with his head battered in.
Don't, Father, don't.
A curate, head battered in. Now, who would want to kill Withers?
Kill Withers? Well, I would with pleasure. How do you do, Mrs. Princey?
Captain Smollett.
Oh, sit down, pray. Mustn't get up for me, Mrs. Princey. You either, Millicent. My word. Just being neighborly on a bad day. I wanted to ask you about those dahlia bulbs, Princey. Took a shortcut on account of the rain and walked right in. Knew you wouldn't mind.
Oh, he heard you, Father. My dear, we can all have our little jokes. Don't pretend to be shocked. This way, Smollett. This chair, facing the fireplace. Sit down, Mother.
Just straightening the curtains to the sun porch, dear. It looks so gloomy out there. Might as well shut the rain out.
Just talking about a little theoretical curate killing, Smollett. You know, young people these days like thrillers.
Parsonicide. Justifiable parsonicide. Have you heard about Ella Bragdon Davis? I shall be most properly laughed at.
Why? Why should you be laughed at, Smollett?
Oh, and a shot in that direction myself. She half said yes, too. Haven't you heard? She told most people. Now it'll look as if I got turned down for a white rat in a dog collar.
Oh, too bad.
Oh, fortune of war.
Yes, fortune of war. Odd how it happens, isn't it? Sit down, Smollett. Millicent, console Captain Smollett with your best light conversation. You too, Mother. George and I have something to look at outside. There's this rain, you know, very bad, very bad. Come, George.
Righto, Governor. Maybe we'll need raincoats, what?
Oh, I don't think so. Just make yourself at home, Smollett. Make yourself at home.
A cigarette, Captain Smollett?
Thank you, thank you. Oh, nasty day to be going out.
It's something about the old well, just off the sun porch door, you know. This terrible sodden weather seems to have loosened some of the stones.
Oh, too bad. Dash too bad. Spoils the tennis and croquet, I mean, a day like this. Doesn't it, Millie? Doesn't it, Millie?
Oh, yes, it does. She was practicing out on the croquet court earlier, but, do pull your chair nearer the fire, Captain. It was so damp, we thought it would be cozy to light it.
Thank you, I'm quite comfortable.
I hope you don't feel too bad about Ella Davis.
Can't always win. Can't see, though, what you women see in these bloodless clerics.
Oh, I always thought Mr. Withers is a very charming man.
Quite agree, but why should anyone want to marry him? You wouldn't want to marry him, would you, Millie?
Not now. That is, are you? Oh, no, of course not.
Smollett.
Yes, Princess. Good Lord, man, you come in on a fellow suddenly.
Guess I did. Oh, don't mind this old double-barreled shotgun. Been working on it. Smollett, may I have your attention for a minute? There's something on the sun porch I'd like to show you.
Why, yes, of course.
Smollett, George and I went out to see if we could shoot some rats which have been driven out of the old well by the high water. Afraid they might get into the house. Now, you must listen to me very carefully. Very carefully, or you will be shot by accident.
Princey, what's got into you?
You heard me ask as you came in, who would kill Withers? You also heard Millicent make a comment, an unguarded comment.
Well, what of it?
Very little. Unless you were to hear that Withers had met a violent end this very afternoon. And that, my dear Smollett, is what you are going to hear.
What? Withers?
Yes.
Who killed him?
Millicent.
Good Lord.
Yes, it's a mess. And of course, you would have remembered and guessed.
Maybe, yes, Yes, I suppose I should.
Therefore, you constitute a problem.
Why did she kill him?
Oh, it's one of those disgusting things. Pitiable, too. She deluded herself that he was in love with her.
Good heavens, Millie. Oh, yes, of course, I see.
He had told her about the Davis girl.
I understand.
Now, I have no wish, as you will comprehend, that she should be proved either a lunatic or a murderess. I could hardly go on living here after that.
I suppose not.
On the other hand, you know about it.
Yes, I see that makes me a problem. You're wondering if I could keep my mouth shut. If I promised...
I am wondering if I could believe you.
But if I promised...
If things went smoothly, yes. But not if there was any sort of suspicion, any questioning. You would be afraid of being an accessory.
Why, I don't know.
I do. What are we going to do?
I can't see anything else. You'd never be fool enough to do me in. You can't get rid of two corpses.
Oh, I regard it as a better risk than the other. It could be an accident. Or you and Withers could both disappear. There are possibilities in that.
Listen, you can't.
I can, but there may be a way out. There is. Smollett, you gave it to me yourself.
I did what?
You said you would kill Withers. You have a motive.
Oh, look here, I was joking. Of course you saw that.
You are always joking. Listen, Smollett, I can't trust you. You must trust me. Else I will kill you now in the next minute. I mean that. You can choose between dying and living.
Go on.
Now, there's the old well just outside the sun porch door. That's where I'm going to put Withers. No one outside knows he has come up here this afternoon. No one will ever look there for him unless you tell them. You must give me evidence that you have murdered Withers.
I murdered him? Why do you want that?
So that I shall be dead sure that you will never open your lips on the subject.
I see. What evidence?
George, hit him in the face.
Sure.
George, don't.
Keep out of this.
Oh, Captain, you should be more careful. Look what your teeth did to my knuckles.
Again, George.
Okay.
Oh, I can't stand it. Oh, now, can you?
Keep quiet. You women keep out of this. I'm sorry, Smollett, but there must be traces of a struggle between you and Withers. Then it will not be altogether safe for you to go to the police.
But can't you take my word, man?
I will when we are finished. George?
Yes?
Get the croquet mallet.
Right, Governor.
Take your handkerchief to it. In there, on the sun porch floor.
Yeah. Yes, I got it, Governor. There, Captain. There's the weapon.
As I told you, Smollett. Now, you just grasp the end that mashed Withers' head. I shall shoot you if you don't.
But good Lord, you can't. All right.
That's it. Now deposit it out by the side of the house, out of the rain, of course. No, wait, George. First, you'd better pull a few hairs out of his head and put them under the nails of Withers' right hand.
Princey, have you gone mad? Do you know what you're doing?
With this gun, yes. Go ahead, George.
Sorry to muss your hair up, Captain.
Shut up, Smollett.
There. That's all we need. Now for Withers, and we'll fix it right up. Be right with you, Governor.
Smollett, you may turn around. Withers is just there in the sun porch. Draw back the curtain.
Good Lord, Princey.
Yes, messy. But we'll get him fixed up. Now, you, Smollett, you've just got to drag him through the door and dump him in the old well.
Just beyond the door, Captain.
I won't touch him. I won't.
All right. Stand aside. Out of range, George.
Right.
Only one place I want this bullet to go.
Father. Oh, Father.
Keep quiet. My aim's none too good.
Wait a minute.
That's better, Smollett. Much better. Go on now. In here. You'll have to take him outside.
By the shoulders ought to do it, Captain.
Keep quiet, George. Go on, Smollett. Go on. You've seen dead men before. Drag him. drag him. I'll just hold the gun here to make sure that everything goes all right.
Oh, Mother, come away from the dim window, dear. Don't look. But, Captain Smollett, your father is a very resourceful man, Millicent. I'm sure what he's doing is right. But the Captain, I can't stand it. You mustn't question your dear father.
I say, are you two still at it? There's enough trouble around here without blubbering.
I'm not blubbering, George Pinsey.
So, you see, Smollett, everything is perfectly safe. They'll never look in our well. You see how safe it is? I guess it is. Oh, good heavens, man, you're dripping wet. Why didn't you slip your raincoat on? Tea ready, my dear?
In just a minute, dear. I'll ring for Bridget.
Exactly what you need, Smollett. Cup of tea. Best thing in the world to ward off a cold. Sit down, won't you? Oh, don't mind getting the chair wet. Cigarette? Help yourself. I stick to my pipe, you know. Funny how...
Princey, everything's hot, ma'am. Oh, Bridget, yes. Put the tray in front of me here, on the table. Yes, ma'am. That's it.
I say, Captain, you've gone and cut your lip.
I just knocked it.
Oh, how dreadful. Here, Bridget, give the captain this cup.
No, thank you. I rather think I'll be running along now, if you don't mind.
Oh, Captain Smollett, without any tea?
If you don't mind, Mrs. Princey, if I could just have my raincoat.
Oh, I'll get it for you, Captain.
Oh, this is very distressing, Smollett, very. Oh, I'll be all right presently, I'm sure.
Here we are now. Let me help you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, young man.
There.
Better go out the front way, Smollett. The walk is dry.
Oh, let me hold the door for you, Captain.
Don't worry, old fellow. Don't worry at all.
No, I...
Good afternoon. Nothing serious, I imagine. A little rest and he'll be as right as rain. By the way, Millicent, you're not looking any too well.
No, not well at all. I'm sure it was that croak he caught. Being outdoors in weather like this is simply foolhardy.
The mater's right, Millie. You saw what happened to Captain Smollett.
Oh, come along, dear. I shall give you a hot foot bath and put you to bed. And a couple of days in bed, and you'll be fine again.
Get plenty of rest, Millicent, and don't worry about a thing. That's the best cure.
Well, I guess I'll have a little rest too, Governor. It's a fine afternoon for a nap.
Indeed it is, son. Well, enjoy yourself. I'll see you later. I'll see you all later.
Your number, please.
Oh, would you get me the police station, please?
Police station? Right away, sir.
Police headquarters, Sergeant Yancey speaking.
Oh, hello, Sergeant. This is Prince here, Abbott's Road. I believe you know me.
Oh, indeed I do, Mr. Princey.
Sergeant, a horrible thing has just happened. Quite extraordinary. Murder, in fact.
Murder?
I'm afraid it looks rather bad for a close friend of ours, unfortunately. We saw him do it. I think you'd better send someone over right away.
Well, our man should be there right about now, Mr. Princey.
I beg your pardon?
I say, our man should be there now. Constable Martin has his post right below your house there. Just rang in. Seems Captain Smollett was with him.
Captain Smollett?
He reported some rather queer goings-on at your place, but I certainly didn't understand it was murder. Just don't touch anything, Mr. Princey. And don't worry. Don't worry at all.
No. No. I won't, Sergeant. Thank you.
Governor, where are you? There's a man
I'm right
outside.
here. Stop shouting.
We have some visitors, Governor.
Oh, yes. Yes, I can see that. Well, Constable, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Princey.
And Smollett, I say what a remarkable fellow you are, coming back like this. Here to reenact the crime?
Only the one against me, Princey. The one against the curate I'll leave to you people.
Extraordinary sense of humor.
Mr. Princey, I just had a look at what's in your well. Not a pretty sight, that. Not pretty at all.
Yes, Captain Smollett was thorough, if nothing else.
You saw him when he did it, sir, out in the back?
Oh, quite. We were just returning from a walk. Smollett evidently had been laying for the curate, hiding out in those bushes by the road, I imagine.
He was never inside this house?
Never.
And you say, Captain?
I say that while I was inside this house, a guest of the family, I was coerced into dragging the curate's body outside and dumping it in the well.
Well, there we are.
Not entirely, Constable. I'll just remove my raincoat. There. And demonstrate how damp I got my clothes when I went outside without it.
No. That's interesting, isn't it?
Quite. He undoubtedly removed his coat at some point between here and your post. I might as well tell you that his weapon, a red croquet mallet, is out by the side of the house. I shouldn't be at all surprised, but that you'd find his fingerprints all over it.
All over the end of the mallet, Constable. The end that mashed Withers' head. And not the end I'd have had to grasp in order to do the mashing.
Governor. That's a decent try, Smollett. But it won't work. There must be other evidences, Constable. You'll undoubtedly find them when you examine the body.
Oh, he means my hair under Withers' nails. Well, sir, if you look carefully, I believe you'll find a few of my precious hairs under his son's nails, too.
Here, what are you trying to... Shut up. Constable, this is an utter waste of time. So far as the violent struggle between Smollett and Withers is concerned, Smollett's face speaks for itself. Quite eloquently, I believe.
Oh, but no more eloquently than your son's knuckles. As you see, Constable, a fresh abrasion. He did that on my teeth. Or did he?
What?
I say, or did he? He might have done that on Withers' teeth.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. But I didn't. Governor, he said I... Oh, keep still, you nitwit. Let me think.
As a matter of fact, George, the more I think of it, the more I'm convinced it was your voice I heard. Quite a vigorous quarrel. Something about the curate jilting your sister.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Smollett.
Very well, Princey. If your son didn't do it, who did?
That's what I'd like to know. How about it, Mr. Princey?
Well, that is a sticker, all right.
George, my boy, it looks like you're elected.
Elected? What do you mean? I didn't do it. Why, I had nothing to do. Keep your mouth shut, will you? I won't. I'm not going to take the blame for her. Millie did it. She did it with that mallet. I saw.
You could prove that?
Prove it? Yes. Her fingerprints on the mallet. The handle.
Why, George, don't you remember when you made me touch the mallet? When you picked it up with your handkerchief?
No,
George, I'm sure you wiped that handle clean. Oh, well, I could hardly expect you to remember that if you can't even remember killing the curate.
Governor, I told you to keep still. But, Governor, you're not going to turn me over. As long as I can remember, George, you've been a trial and a tribulation to me. Governor, You shouldn't have done it, son. You really shouldn't.
No, George, that was definitely wrong. I say, Princey, I think I'll have that cup of tea after all. Nothing like it in weather like this.
Wet Saturday, from the short story by John Collier. You have just heard the second in Columbia's new series, a series designed to bring you the best in thrill entertainment. Outstanding dramas from the field of fiction and radio, stage and screen. Dramas of pure suspense. This Columbia feature is produced and directed by Charles Vanda, with script by Harold Medford and score by Bernard Herrmann. Be with us again next week at this same time when we present Suspense. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We'll be broadcasting again on 10 December 2023. We broadcast from 8 to 11 p.m. Central Time. We're always delighted by the number of listeners we're attracting. So please come again and share the news about this broadcast. These are old-time radio shows from the golden age of radio. As always, thank you, and sweet dreams. This is a production of Lovato Studios, Sao Paulo, Brazil.